Right. Um, yes. So I was just saying that in terms of SOP writing, like all I'm going to discuss with you today is more like my own experiences throughout my application cycle, and also um yeah, what I've learned from other people in various ways that I think works, that I think is good for you to know when you are applying this group, when you're writing your SOP. So I'll start by giving the difference between an SOP and a personal statement. Someone is just asking for the group, the link to this meeting in the group. Can any of you just send it to them so they can join? Um, so an SOP, the difference in an SOP and a personal statement is that an SOP mostly talks about your past. It tries to connect. Am I saying an SOP? Yeah. So that's personal statements mainly. So the personal statement connects your past to your present and near future so or goals. So what that means is that when you write your personal statement, mostly the preamble or the prompt they are going to give you is write an essay or write an essay which should talk about how your past experiences, people, and maybe your your environment has influenced your decision to maybe pursue this program, and how it's going to affect your long-term goals, basically. Right. So this works. And I like to also make this personal statement analogous to what we call a diversity statement. For some schools, they require a diversity statement. I think UC Berkeley requires a diversity statement. And that also is more about, it's also about your background, but here it plays the role of diversity. So they are like, how has maybe how do you embody diversity, equity, and inclusion, and how will you maybe be able to add to the diversity, equity, and inclusion of this university? So in that sense, it's also about your experiences, your background, and your environment. But here they are focusing a lot on diversity. So you can use a personal statement as a diversity statement, but you have to change a few things to make the language more like it's about diversity. So what that means is that you are going to talk about, now maybe some people don't know what diversity, equity, and inclusion is. It's mainly about like equality and the fact that despite your background, wherever you are from, whatever your skin, the color of your skin, whatever age or gender you are, you should be accepted. You should be accepted. And so mostly diversity, how do I say, it's it impacts us, it benefits us from like Africa, the Black people, the women, the girls in STEM, especially STEM, because like STEM is an underrepresented field for women. So anywhere someone will be underrepresented, we have that idea that diversity, equity, and inclusion is going to help them, because if there's, so like let's say that in a school, and that's where affirmative action came from. So affirmative action was just like a decision taken in the United States. It's kind of like a policy and stuff like that to help people who are underprivileged, who maybe on their own means and stuff, it would have been hard for them to attain certain positions, be in certain work. So like they have a quota. Let's say every school has a quota that of every 80 students you select, you admit into a school, 20 should be Black or 20 should be women, like 20 should be diverse. And what that means is that 80 of them are white, and then the 20, maybe some should be Black, some should be Indian, Asian, some should be Hispanic, And here they have a lot of things about Hispanics because, you know, America is kind of like, if you go back in history, people say that America here was the land of the Red Indians. And if you go back again, they are like, the Hispanics are like the custodians of North America. So North and South America mainly. So those from Mexico, Puerto Rico, Venezuela, all those people, they embody like the Hispanics. So when you come here, you see like a lot of things. My lab mate is like Hispanic, he's Hispanic American, he has a scholarship. It's just for Hispanic people. And it's unfortunate because someone like me, I may be qualified and all of those things, but I can't get scholarship because I'm not a US citizen. So those things play a role. So when they ask you mainly, and that's the point I was getting to, when they ask you for a personal statement or diversity statement, they want you to express yourself for them to see if your background is worthy for a particular fellowship. Those ones, they are fellowships or special scholarship that you can get. Now, I think I'm talking, and so more things are coming up. I just want to give the difference between a fellowship and a scholarship. So a fellowship is money that's given to you by a school. It may be by a school or special organization affiliated to the school or anything for you to be able to study without having to give anything in return. Some fellowships have something to give in return, but that is to them. So if, let's say, Codon Foundation establishes a fellowship, and when we become big, maybe in the next 10 years, and we give specific fellowships that in particular schools, like maybe here in Georgia Tech, I say I want to establish a fellowship under the name of Codon. It could have even be under my name. So people do that. Like we have maybe the Kpare fellowship, let's say that. And so I would say that anyone who is coming should be Black, should be African or Ghanaian, and maybe you should have a GPA of above 3.7 or something like that. So when you write your essay and they check all your things and you satisfy those requirements, they will qualify you for the fellowship. And that money is given to you just for free, like mostly the scholarships, like in the school scholarships, graduate research assistantship, graduate teaching assistantship, graduate assistantship. You have to do some work. Graduate research assistantship, you have to research for the professor. Teaching assistantship, you have to teach. Graduate assistantship, you have to do some office work. But fellowships, you don't have to do anything. And that's what I'm saying. Some fellowships, you don't have to do anything for the school, but some fellowships. So like, let's say for Codon Foundation, if I gave that fellowship out to one student every year, I can require that in the period of 1 year of that fellowship, that student should volunteer with Codon during the application cycle to mentor at least 10 people to get into Codon. That's the only thing I require from you. And usually what fellowships require from you is very less, like you don't really even feel it. And they give you a lot of money. They give you a lot of money, which can be, and mostly fellowships can be used or held. You can hold a scholarship with a fellowship, right? But you can't hold two fellowships together. Some fellowships are allowed, most fellowships do not allow it. Like the National Science Foundation, they don't allow you to hold their fellowship with another fellowship. There's a fellowship here called the GEM Fellowship. It's for Black people, but Black US citizens. I know a few guys who are on that GEM Fellowship, but I can't apply for it because I'm not a US citizen. So typically that's it. So you can have, so like you have your graduate research assistantship, and then you are given a fellowship as well. So maybe my stipend is $35,000 a year. The fellowship can give you, and mostly the fellowship gives you one-time payment. There are different fellowships and stuff. Today's not about fellowships, but a fellowship can give you $5,000 for a year, and they can break it down into two. So they'll give you 2,500 for one semester, for 4 semesters, 2,500 for spring semester. So they give you that money one time, and you don't have to do anything. Some fellowships even give you the opportunity to intern. So there's a STAR fellowship, which gives people opportunity to intern. The GEM fellowship gives people opportunity to intern. Like they now will connect you to a company and go and intern there. Do you understand? For you to build experience. They fellowships are supposed to help you. And GRA is like GRA, GT, and all of those things. It's back and forth, right? Someone's asking me my stipend. That's not my stipend. My stipend, I'll not talk about it. It's around there, but don't worry. Stipend depends on where you are, your state, the cost of living there, the school. But MSc here in Georgia Tech has one of the highest stipends among the other programs. So I have a good stipend, if I would say. So basically that's that. But depending on where you go, and Georgia Tech is a public school. Most of the private schools would some of the private top schools would also give you more money, like Princeton, Cornell, Harvard, MIT. People take as much as 50,000, 60,000, 40,000, 45,000. Mostly your range would be around 28,000 to about 35,000. That's the average range. Yeah, I had offers for about 30,000, 25,000, which was excluding. Some give you stipend for 9 months, some give you stipend for 12 months. So Esquinio gave me stipend for 9 months and said, if I can get a supervisor, because I was going in, I didn't reach out to any professor, so I was going in without a supervisor, and they were like, once I get in and I get a supervisor, the supervisor can pay the 3 months, that's summer. So they gave me stipend for fall and spring, and they're like, okay, by the time you get to summer, you would have gotten a supervisor who pay the 3 months and continue for you. So I think that was around 25,000 or something. But again, depending on where you are, because New York is very expensive. So you have to look at all those things. So I wish that most of us can get fellowships. If your school gives it, like here is really hard, like for you to even get a fellowship. But depending on the school, and most private schools have like some small fellowships there. So some of the guys in Cornell I know on fellowships, Northeastern, Princeton, Purdue, those schools, they have some small fellowships there. And here, like one thing about the fellowships is that you can get a fellowship once you are in the school, once you are doing the stuff, you can get the fellowship. So you just have to work hard. And here, like I always say, I always tell my roommate, like, Bruni wants to help you. So we have like a professor here who is dedicated to just help people with scholarship applications, fellowships, and all of those things. Because she's helping you be successful to get it. But when you also get it, the school can be able to say that, oh, we have this number of people with these fellowships or these scholarships and stuff. So they have a workshop for the NSF. The NSF is a big National Science Foundation. It's like the biggest grantor of scholarships and funding and all of these things. They have some fellowships. Now, their fellowship is for 3 years. Most fellowships is just for 1 year, but their fellowship is 3 years. Unfortunately, it's for only US citizens, but they're having like a writing workshop to teach people how to write the application and all of those things. So it's really big, and hopefully you get to that point. But I'm trying to say that typically your personal statement and your, what do we call it? Your diversity statement, if you have to write that, will be related to whether you are going to get a fellowship or not, basically. And sometimes it doesn't matter. Like sometimes your professor is just big and is in charge of the fellowship and say, Charlie, give it to my student. A lot of things go on in the background, and some schools may not even ask you for a personal statement, they just give it to you. So the thing is that, yeah, personal statements may be optional for most schools and diversity statements, but SOPs, almost every school which requires you to write an essay would ask for an SOP. And for an SOP, it's mostly about your past, your present, your past, how it has influenced your present decision to apply to this school or do this graduate program specifically, and what you are going to do after it. So it connects. We used to use a phrase loosely. It says connect the dots. Stanford Knight Hennessy has this scholarship, and I would encourage you guys to apply for it if you can. It's a prestigious scholarship. That one, when you get to the final stage, whether you are in Ghana, you are in Mars, yeah, wherever, once you are shortlisted, I think it's the last 10 or last 20, they will fly you. Or is it last 50? I don't remember. No, it will not be last 10 because they select more than that. I think it's last 50 or last 200. They would pay your air ticket and stuff for you to come to Stanford is where California, or I didn't remember, but they'll fly you to Stanford, basically, to have the interview. It's called immersion weekend. You'll be there for like Friday, Saturday, Sunday. They'll pay for your everything. You just chill and you go for the interview. Even if you don't pass, they'll still fly you back home. And then yeah, you can move on. But like it's a good opportunity. Myself and my friends, we applied for it. Unfortunately, none of us got it. But it's a good experience. It's a Stanford Knight Hennessy scholarship. I can share about it later. Maybe I just start it in the chat. The Stanford Knight Hennessy. They are looking for people with leadership experience. It's crazy. They have Charlie. It's crazy. That's let's say you write a lot of essays. Like this connect the dots is part of it. Like it's crazy. It's crazy. But we did our best. And most of us who applied to it didn't get it, but we are in like top schools. So it's a lot of stuff. So that's what your SOP should do. And you realize that one thing is most schools who ask you for a personal statement would also ask you for an SOP. Now listen to this carefully. It may vary, but most importantly, if a school asks for only one essay and they say, oh, write maybe a motivation letter or write a personal statement, if you are submitting only a personal statement and they don't talk about SOP, write it like an SOP because you can make your SOP has parts of a personal statement and also like the SOP component because it talks about your past a bit, then it talks about your present. One thing I also want to say is that your SOP is more technical. It's more technical in terms of your field and what you really want to do. While your personal statement may be more social, what factors have affected you and things like that. So I think you should think about that too. So if a school asks for only one essay, write it in the form of an SOP, and I'll come to that very soon. Today, I'm focusing only on SOP, but I just want to talk about personal statements a bit. Not all of you will be writing it. In all my applications, I think I wrote only 3 personal statements or something. Sometimes it's optional, and that's what I'm saying. A school may make it optional just because if you write it, it may give them an idea of whether they can consider you for a fellowship. But again, if you're applying for PhD, if you are picked, you are going to be funded for most schools. So some of my friends didn't submit a personal statement when it was optional because they know that if I get in, I'm going to be funded. I don't care about the extra money the fellowship will give at that stage because they are applying to many schools and it may have taken them a lot of time to sit down and write a very good personal statement. So they're like, Charlie, if it's a PhD, I'll get in and I'll get funded. Now, whether I get extra money or not, I don't really care. If I'll also get it, I'll not get it, and then I've wasted my time to write 2 essays. So that's it. We should focus more on like the SOP. That's what I'm going to talk about. Also, there's something we call academic statements. Some have like academic statements and research statements. I don't know. Yeah, I think so. I think Michigan State University had that. UIUC had that. And a couple, I don't know if they, yeah, is it academic statement, research statement, or personal statement and academic statement? So these are 2 scenarios I'm going to give you. If a school asks for academic statement and research statement, make the research statement very technical. And they will tell you the prompts are very important. And this one thing I'm just going to say as a disclaimer. If you are sending me an essay to review, this is an SOP, whatever, please add the prompts. Please add the prompts. Sometimes SOP, they'll just say SOP and they don't say anything. That's fine. But if they say SOP, write an SOP detailing your past experience. Every school has a different way of saying it. And you may think that it's a small variation between school A and school B, but it may be very important to them. So please and please again, when you are sending me that thing, please add the prompt so I look at it because that's how they are going to review. They are going to review, look at the prompt. I've applied to so many things. I know a lot about how they score a lot of things. So like Commonwealth scholarship, the fact that you follow the prompts and everything gives you marks. And then we come to your content and come to your structure. There's a lot of things, even how your recommenders talk about you, those things. We talk about recommendations another day. So all of those things are really important. And so when you give me the prompt, I can look at it and I'll mirror it with your essay and I'll be like, does it match up to what these people expect you to do? That's what I'm expecting from you. Also, I just wanted to mention again, if they ask you to do an academic statement, research statement, let the research be focused on like research. What research have you done? So research statements, they would mostly, if they ask you for these two things, they would mostly tell you, oh, maybe the research statement you talk about your research you've done and the research you want to do. And maybe they'll say academic statements, you talk about your academic background and how it has prepared you to do it. So look, depending on what they ask you, these things I'm just saying are proxies that you can think about once you hear these things, but you always read the prompt to learn more. So for example, if they say, write a research statement, we talked about past research and then current research that you want to do, you can talk about past research. So it should be on research. So you start now, don't be talking about when you grew up, what your mother did and what your father didn't do and all of this, and go straight to the research. If you want to use it to create a story, fine, but I should be very, very straight to the point. Be like, oh, I'm excited about A, B, C, D, how maybe like me, my project is on plastic waste and stuff. So I can use that as an example, how maybe plastic waste is going to affect the 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 climate, the environment, and also its socioeconomic factors, blah blah blah. And then I make a case for it, and I say because of that, I did this research here where I learned ABCD. When you're writing that research, you should focus more on the skills, the tools, the methodologies you were using. Why did you do this? What did you do? What were the results? How is it going to impact us? Why did you do this? What did you do? I used ABCD to do ABCD. What were the results? Like, what was the outcome of it? How is it going to impact us? How is it going to impact the world? That is everything about any kind of research you are doing. These are the 4 questions you should just answer. Why did you do this? If you are writing over, you don't know why you did it, it's a big red flag. And if you're able to communicate these things from the get-go, your code email, you're saying the same thing. When they call you for interview, it's the same thing you're going to ask you. It's the same thing you're going to answer. So you just have these things in very short, simple terms. Me, I knew when I did my project, my undergrad project, I knew what I was doing and all of those things, but I hadn't thought about it so much. So I come to places where I have to talk about why I did the project, and I'm thinking, but why did I even do this project? You need to really think about it. Like, how is it relevant? Some people talk about, oh, there's a research gap or something. Don't think about it in that very technical way. Just think about simply, why did you waste your time to do something like this? What problem was there for you to solve? Then what did you do? What did you do to solve this problem? And I say, when you're talking about what you did, briefly talk about what tools. I used ABCD to do ABCD. What were the results? Okay, so I was able to find out that based on what I planned to do, why I started this, I was able to do ABCD. If there was an outcome from it, if you're able to present that paper, it should be there. If you're able to publish that paper, it should be there. If you won an award for it, it should be there. Most people just write in there, I think, oh, I got an A in it. It's good if you don't have much, but if you have something you can add, you can say, oh, yeah, maybe I was also able to present it at a conference or do a poster presentation on it. Anything that shows that it is tangible. You didn't just do the project and end it. That shows that you have the capacity to go further and dig deep. And so whatever project they're going to give you is the same way you're going to handle it. Then you go further to talk about the fact that, okay, this is how it is going to impact the world. So I didn't just do this project because it is a problem that I slept and woke up and I saw, but I'm seeing that if I'm able to do this, it can be applied in ABCD. So for example, if I was able to develop a material that can be able to absorb toxic gases from the environment, and maybe it had maybe 20% efficiency or something. I'm like, okay, this thing, maybe in a grand scheme of things, it doesn't have 50% efficiency or something. It cannot be used maybe in an open space or something, but maybe think about the application. Maybe this thing can just be used in maybe household applications in the kitchen where something like that can be more impactful, can be more like beneficial. Just think about it, like, and it can go different places. If you did your research on business and things like that, you can say, oh, my project gave us a way to be able to maybe um, visualize how uh, maybe maybe inflation affected the maybe education or the quality of education of university students, something. And so if you found this, what can we do about it? At least it can give you an indication that if you don't go, if we don't go above this particular threshold, then it means that there's going to be better quality of education. Something like you should be able to relate your project to something like outside of it, something that is more beneficial to the world. So this is a brief overview of everything that I'm going to show you today. We should be able to do this in less than an hour, but I would just want to show you. I wish I did slides, I always say, but I've been so busy. I have an assignment which I've really not been synced up with it, so I'm very slow. But then I would, what do I say? I would go through this. First of all, I want to show you an SOP which doesn't work. I will show you an SOP which doesn't work. I would let all of you grade this SOP, and then I'll show you an SOP that I use. In the samples folder of our Google Drive, I've shared SOPs. All the SOPs there are SOPs of schools I got admitted into. So it means those SOPs are good, right? Now, you use them as an idea. I want to give you this idea because very soon, some people have started sharing SOPs with me and I've been doing corrections. But if I give you the idea, right, you will write based on that idea, and I don't have to. It will save both of us the stress of going back and forth. Because me, I can review an SOP for you and literally rewrite the whole thing. But I don't want to do that. You guys are giving the information. I want you guys to understand how to fish and then fish. I've written SOPs for people to get admitted and stuff like that. But this is not what we are doing here. I just want to teach you how to do it, and then we work towards it. If you didn't understand anything that we do here, if you don't understand a particular thing, please ask. Because when you send the SOP and I'm reviewing it, I'll be able to see whether you really understood what we're saying, whether you paid attention to certain things. And I'm not going to hold it against you, but I'm just going to give us more time to go back and forth, because I'll make some corrections and I'll give you comments with do this, and we come back and then we go back and forth again. So let's just do that. Another thing I just want to mention is that if you are applying to multiple schools, please don't use one SOP to apply to all of them. That's one mistake I made in my first cycle. I didn't use the same thing, but I kind of used what do you call it? Similar. I just changed a few things, changed the name of the school, changed this. I really didn't know exactly what I was doing. So I'm going to teach you the right way. And there are particular paragraphs, I can say 2 to 3 paragraphs in your SOP that should always change a bit based on the school. We'll go into that very soon. Based on the school you're applying to, that should change a bit. And if you change that a bit and you continue your introduction a bit and your conclusion a bit, you are good to go. The body, the middle there where you talk about yourself and your experiences and stuff, it can really stay there. I just realized I spoke about the research statement. I didn't talk more about the academic statement. So if a school asks for an academic statement and they ask it together with the research statement, they may not ask. If they ask it with the research statement, you have to make a fine line between them. You have to talk about research in your research statement and talk about only academics in your academic statement. What I mean by only academics is talk about the fact that they just want to know, basically, you are saying you want to do a master's degree in business analytics. What makes you qualified? Simple. That's what you should tell them. What makes you qualified? Okay. Don't assume that, oh, the fact that I've done an undergrad in business or business administration, I should be able to get it. You should go beyond that. So you should show it. So you should tell them that, oh, I did an undergrad in this, and I was able to, what courses do you need to be confident in? So this is why research is important. When you go to the school's website, they might tell you the person should have a background in maybe A, B, C, D, I don't know your field, but they will tell you something small. So you say, I have background in A, B, C, D, and this has prepared me to do this program. Then you can go further. Academic statement, you can always explore. You can tell them that, oh, maybe some project you did in the classroom. It doesn't need to be research, it's a project. You did a project with these guys, you did this. And you always say what you learned from it. Oh, I learned some teamwork. And I also learned maybe the concept of A, B, C, D, maybe a particular concept. Let's say the concept of opportunity cost. Let me just use an example. You were able to use that project to learn more about this concept and apply it in A, B, C, D. And you can go further to say, oh, maybe you won this award if you did, or maybe there's something I wanted to really share, but I just keep my mind, unfortunately. If I remember it later, it's very important for an academic statement. If you need an academic statement without when they also ask for a research statement. But if they don't ask for a research statement and they say only academic statement, or they say academic statement and personal statement, then your academic statement is like your typical SOP, where you combine research and your academics into one. So you talk about your past, you talk about research academics, talk about what you want to do and why you want to go to that school. And then the personal statement will be more of the social stuff, the social stuff, while the academic statement will be more of the technical stuff. Good. So at this point, I'm just going to share my screen. First of all, I said I'm going to show you an SOP that doesn't work. And then we'll go on. Now, before I share it, I want to say something. When I share it, I'm going to read. I'll call someone. I don't want to talk here, so I'll call someone to read it. And then I'll call someone to read it, and then I would ask you guys what's wrong with it before. I want you guys to find the errors yourself, and then we'll talk about it. Remember yesterday what I said? I said in the code email. So let me see. How many of you were on the call yesterday? I think Caleb Morgan. Okay, not yesterday, Friday. Caleb Morgan, Karim, Obed, a number of you were yesterday. I said something. Some of you probably listened to the recording. I want to see if you guys really understood what I said. I said in writing, and I made sure I made it clear that it's not just for code emails. In writing, for whether it's an SOP, is a code email, most writing that you will be doing now, there are two main things that are important. What are they? Like anyone should just tell me before I show you what I want to show you, because it's the same thing I'm going to apply today. There are two main things that are important. Yes, Esther.
Content and structure.
I can't hear you well.
Content and structure.
Content and structure.
Yeah, exactly. Thank you very much. Content and structure. And so this is what we are looking at today. I'll teach you the content of the SOP. I'll teach you the structure. The structure is almost the same, and that's what I'm saying. We don't have like a particular formula, right? But based on my experience, some key things have to be there, and I structure it as 1 to 4, right? But you can use this and then play with it however you want. You can decide to put part 3 as the first paragraph, part 4 as the second part. Whatever you do, it should still flow logically. And I found that like the 1 to 4 just flows for me, but I'll show you what I mean by this. So I'm going to briefly show you an example. All right, so I'm going to share my screen now. Now, I'll read through it. I could have said let everyone, but I'll read through it, and then I would also let you guys, I'll give you the liberty to read through it all yourself. And there are many things wrong about it. This was to which school? I can't even see the school on the top of my head now to suppose. Now the funny thing is, the person who sent me this first and when we're writing about it, this was really bad, and this was her first attempt at writing an SOP. It was really bad. And unfortunately, I helped refine this. Unfortunately, she wasn't able to get into this program because she was applying to a civil engineering program when her background really wasn't there. So the school actually just wrote to tell her, unfortunately, we can't admit you because though you have good materials and everything, we don't think you have the academic background. And that's why typically we say that it's good for you to do something which is related to what you did in your undergrad. Or if you have work experience or something like that, because it could really be difficult for you to show that you have that experience if you have not built it. So if you have work experience, if you have internship experience in that field and it's not your field, then it can be good, right? That you show that there. And in engineering, I think there's a lot of overlap. So it doesn't matter if you are going from engineering to engineering, you have a problem. No matter what engineering it is, you can always find a way to link it. So this is the SOP. I'm going to read it briefly. There are a lot of typos and stuff. And this is how the person sent it to me. And I think this is how the person sent it to me. So I'm going to read through it. And everyone is going to speak. I'm going to go around. Everyone's going to speak. Everyone's going to tell me one thing that they found wrong about the SOP. And so when I call you to speak, you would score it out of 10 and you tell me one thing you found wrong about it, then we'll move to the next. Because through this, you are just identifying ways it would not work. And then we talk about ways that it will work. I can show you later what we wrote again for this. So for this particular program, she didn't get into it for this school, but then they encouraged her to apply for a program which would match her background better. So we applied for a program which was better suited to her background, and she got in, right? With just this, when I show you the better SOP we wrote, you'd see that there was not much difference. It was just about structure and content, right? So first of all, in terms of structure, you should always justify your work. In terms of justify, you have to select all and just make sure you select the justify formatting, this thing, not left alignment, not center alignment, but justify. That makes it look better. That's the first thing you should be in terms of. So if I check and I don't see that, it's not really a big deal, but it helps. So I'm going to read it, and I've just censored the person's name. This is not the person's name, but I don't want to put the person on the spot. The person's not here actually, but I don't want anyone to it's just an example I want to show. I've read bad, even worse SOPs, but I think this is a good example to use. So it says that I am Boakye Rachel. I'm from Boakye, a suburb of Kumasi in the Ashanti region of Ghana. I had education in my formative years in Boakye Experimental BJHS. Because the school was built to clay and serve the middle class, it was uncomfortable to learn when it rained excessively. I had the chance to study general science at Ideal College after finishing elementary school. I prioritized my time in order to do the tasks that are most crucial first because I'm disciplined, dedicated, and focused. 4 years ago, as I was growing up in a village, I could not imagine myself pursuing education abroad, especially in the UK, because of limited resources. However, I had nothing but a dream. In the third year of my undergraduate education, and she kind of made it up there. In the third year of my undergraduate education, I received in-depth practical knowledge during the 4 months industrial training at the Council for Scientific and Industrial Research, which I was a part of the commercial building project. Here, I took upon the task of performing a steady testing for materials procured for a mixed design and design in reinforced concrete structure. Also, I had the opportunity to visit and learn about surveying. In addition, I was exposed to the various aspects of construction, engineering, and management, and interacted with the engineers involved with futuristic activities. That thoroughly inspired me and reinforced my decision to pursue my graduate study in this field. During my undergraduate studies, I undertook courses like computer-aided design, cement, thermodynamics, and phase equilibrium chemistry, geology and mineralogy, technical drawing, algebra, research methodology, calculus with analysis, structure, ceramics, design, differential equations, stars, and glass, which serve as a foundational knowledge I obtained with passion. I completed these courses from Kpare University, along with academic endeavors. I have actively participated in extracurricular activities. My communications and leadership skills have increased as a result of my involvement in the organization of numerous technical and artistic events at my college as a women commissioner and the general secretary of the Kpare University Counseling Center. In the Center of Ceramics, I have also worked as teaching assistant where I taught computer-aided design and probability and statistics. These activities had unwittingly improved my people skills, which I believe are useful in both professional and personal settings. With my final year project, I worked on characterization of two different clays, Kenya and Fosu clay. Both clays were obtained from the Ashanti region of Ghana to determine their potential uses in the ceramic industry. In this project, I performed tests like X-ray diffraction, X-ray fluorescence, compressive strength and tensile strength tests, porosity, density, and MR, etc. The reason behind the choice of this project topic is to help know the benefit of characterizing different materials, both physical, chemical, and thermal properties of raw materials, to help gain better understanding of the materials when exposed to certain conditions. With the help of my supervisor, Dr. Robert Amwani of Materials Engineering Department, the project was successfully completed with remarkable solutions, and this study has served as a guide towards future experiments and applications of these materials. With this knowledge obtained will help me in the choice of material selection to help make the right choice. Aberdeen is known for its research in civil engineering and has one of the best hydraulic laboratory facilities in Scotland, associated with a high-level research profile. These factors distinguish Aberdeen from the other reputed ones in the country. You know, it's an eclectic university that furnishes an education that will boost my career and prepare me for a lifetime of learning. I believe the program offered will help me acquire the versatility needed to exploit my full potential. Being network, I'm sure this was just a typo. As a result, and I'm confident that the younger generations that look up to me will benefit from my influence to widen my acceptance into your prestigious institution. Will allow me to interact with a completely new group of people from quite different backgrounds. My motive of being an engineer is to impact and inspire young Ghanaians, especially young ladies in the field of engineering. After I end the credential training, coupled with my compassionate nature, I'll be able to contribute not only knowledge to academia, but also to the socio-economic growth of Ghana and the world in general. That's all. Okay. Thank you. So no, at this point, I think everyone has got it. So first of all, just put your ranking of this SOP on a scale of 10 in the chat. Just type, what do you think about this SOP on a scale of 1 to 10 before I ask people what they think were the mistakes. So you just have to pinpoint one thing. You can look at one paragraph, you can look at one thing the person said, and all of those things. Yeah, so let's go. Let's all score. Okay, yeah, a number of you, I'm still waiting for a number of you. Okay. Right. So the fact that you're able to score, and most of you are giving this person below 10, means that you guys know a bit about SOP writing. And so I should be expecting more than that from all of you. I've reviewed some of you guys' work and I've realized some of you like really know what you're doing. Some of you have written really good essays. At times I would review these things. At times I would also refer you to someone else to help you with the writing. So just so you know, eventually I'll try my best, but if there are times where I'm really swamped, I'll just let someone else help you with it. So I think that's good. So first of all, I want to say there are a lot of typos here. So first, structurally, the fact that it wasn't justified was a big no for me when it came to me. Like I can just open the Word document and then it's all basa. And then secondly, there's a lot of underline, red, blue, blue. Like Word itself is questioning the work you're doing, and you probably didn't see it. Some people used to text me like SOP on WhatsApp. Like they just text it in the text box and send it to me and say, oh, help me edit it. Like this is really crazy. We have to put some like more seriousness in what we are doing to get like the best results. Because on WhatsApp, when you're typing, you can't really read and check all of those things. And if you do it like on Word or something, you can see, you can go back to read it. And me, one thing about me, I don't like rushing stuff to like just because you want to submit something. I believe in like quality, I believe in excellence. So you need to take your time to make sure that you are giving the best, right? Many people have applied to school 3 times, 4 times, 5 times, never got in just because like they didn't know a few things and they didn't take their time to learn these things, but they just kept applying. As I always tell people, like the first step in applying is to do your research. If you do the research well, if you use 3 months, 4 months to do your research and usually 1 month to apply, you can get 5 fully funded offers at a go, as compared to someone who just got up, oh, I'm writing SOP. I know people, and yeah, some people are lucky and all of those things. One of our mentors, when we're discussing recently, Codon mentors, he was telling me that when he was applying, he didn't, he would just go to the school spot and like, oh, I want to apply to the school. Then if there's an essay there, there's a text box. So some schools have a text box where you can write like SOP. Like he's just writing it there, or like within an hour, he's done this SOP, then he goes to the next thing. Then me, and maybe it may be different from me, but this is something I'll just advise you to do. If you go to a school's portal, you have to write an essay and things, and they give you a text box there and say, oh, 250 characters. It may not be anything, but it's good to copy the prompts into Word and then sit down and type it. Make sure you check the word limit and all of those things. Make sure it's making sense to you before you go ahead and submit. Don't just like rush and submit, and you rush and submit so that what will happen. You really need to take your time and feel these things. These people, I would say, these people, when you are reading the essays, they know who took 1 day to write the thing and who used 3 months to write the thing. So like it really counts. And I'll just tell you this as a heads up. You realize that probably the SOPs you write now, when you come by December, if you are still doing applications and you submit some in December, even in January, you'd see a big difference between what you wrote at the beginning and what you wrote at the end. Is it that what you wrote at the end probably has more quality, or you have infused more things to make it stand out more than those you started at the beginning? And that's why I say you shouldn't rush it. You should go like step by step. You should try to get all the feedback and do all the things, and you're able to get all the things that you want. So that's it. So at this time, I'll just call. So again, there were a lot of typos here. Like I had to make sense of it. And yeah, at least when you write your stuff, read through it first before you send to me. Like it's very how do I say it? Yes, draining. It can be me personally. Even when I write exams, I don't like going through my way. Like people say, oh, go through your work to see if it's good before you submit. I don't like going through it because me, even the example, like I'm tired, I'm still like just take the paper and leave me, because it's like it's been a lot of work. And the same thing can be said of writing. Like you just write it since I'm like, no, I don't want to read this thing. Let me just send to someone they review. But please, it would be in your own interest. And again, like that's why you don't need to rush. If your deadline is close, like you write it, when you write it, that point you might even read it and not see anything. Leave it for a day or two and come back and you read it again and you see that, oh, maybe this place, even yourself, you could have said it better. And then you do those things before you send to another person. Because you can send something to someone, the person will tell you something but you want the person to tell you before you know that, oh, this takes wrong. So please, like, let's do that. It can really hectic, but it will help all of us if we are able to apply it. So I'll just take some people to tell me what they see wrong with this. So Lawrence, Can you tell me anything you see wrong with the essay? Maybe some paragraph, maybe some sentence, maybe in terms of structure, maybe in terms of this. Yeah, just tell me something.
Yeah, Jude, thank you so much. I so appreciate it. I'm pretty sure you're able to hear me, please.
Yeah, I can hear you.
Awesome, awesome. So the thing I noticed, could you please scroll up a bit for me? I think to the latter part of
This page, or I should go to the next.
the down, yes.
Okay.
I think there was a part he talked about his motive, or I mean the reason why he wants to be an engineer or something. I think that caught my attention. You know, some of these things, just like you were speaking, they look at what is behind your reason for applying or your reason of becoming this particular thing you want to do. And I feel that the reason he gave was not enough. I think he mentioned that he wants to impact. I'm just looking for good. He said my motive of being good, yes, of being an engineer is to impact and inspire young Ghanaians, especially young ladies in the field of engineering. I feel I mean, this should stand out.
Okay.
This is your main reason. Telling people that you just want to impact your generation, and so they should give you their money is not enough. I think there should be a lot that could go, especially in that section. There could be, how do you want to impact? Yes, we all know we want to make an impact and things, but how do you want to impact? Give us practical examples. Like what have you even done in the past that like I mean should communicate to us that you have that capacity to impact. Yeah. So I feel he could have done more justice to that particular paragraph. And the last thing I want to talk about is that I mean I was not getting the flow. I mean it was not flowing.
Yeah.
From this first paragraph, I should be able to, I mean, identify that this is what you're talking. Definitely. But all those things were amazing. So that is a few I want to comment on, so that the others can also have something to say. Thank you so much.
Thank you. Like you guys know more than I do, and that's amazing. So I'm glad to have you guys. It just makes my work easy. So yeah, like okay, and it's a she, so yeah, I don't want to qualify, but yeah, it's a she. So she in this place, like just as my motive is to impact and inspire young Ghanaians. And so as we go through these things, I'm going to give you like very simple bullet points, if I'll say, for you to know what you are supposed to be doing in your SOPs. And here, the first thing is being specific. I always say it, like in your code email, in your SOP, in your CV, you should be specific. What do you mean by being an engineer to impact and inspire young Ghanaians? Everyone can say that. Even someone who completed JHS right now can say, oh, I want to be an engineer to impact. What does that mean to you? You should always think about what level you're applying for. You're applying for a master's program, like you're applying for a PhD. These people want more than just, oh, I want to impact and inspire young Ghanaians. How? Right? So you need to go further to kind of explain these things. So this one thing he noted, and again, he said it wasn't really flowing for him. Another person, so I want a lady this time. Maybe Lauren. Did I say Lawrence? No, Etonam.
Hello, Jude.
Yeah, Etonam. Can you hear me?
Today I couldn't pay full attention to
Okay. Right. If you can talk now, don't worry. So let's go to another lady, Abigail. Abigail, can you hear me?
Hi, Jude.
Yeah. I hope you got the question I was asking.
Yes, can you hear me, please?
Yeah, I can hear you.
Okay. I think I didn't catch the reader's attention because I was kind of lost at a point.
Okay.
Yes.
Right. So how, like, what does that mean? What showed you that I didn't catch your attention? Not just being lost, but it's definitely something that led to it. So.
Okay, I was lost because at a point I wasn't following, but then the beginning of the personal statement,
Mm.
um I don't know, but it felt like it was more emotional than logical. And she didn't really talk more about what she wanted to, like the reason she wanted to
Yeah.
pursue a master's degree
Okay.
like outside.
So yeah, the beginning was just I didn't want to talk about the beginning. I wanted someone else to talk about it, but yeah, she said it. So the beginning was explaining her background, I'm from here, and my school, blah blah. When I read it, and I've done this thing for some time, so I kind of saw a way she could really link some of these things to something. And maybe if I show you later what we did with it, you'll be able to understand. But I wasn't seeing it like, what does the fact that you went to Brook Room? No one knows Brook Room. No one cares what Brook Room is or where it is. If you mentioning it to say something relevant, mention it. But if it's not really going to apply or appeal to anything really, there's no need. Yeah, and the fact that she couldn't imagine herself pursuing education in the UK, it doesn't really matter. If you speak about that again and link it to the fact that you didn't have the financial means, but you were brilliant, so you got a scholarship and stuff, people will be excited and they'll listen to you and they'll say, okay, so what were you able to do with that scholarship of yours and things like that. But if you don't really link it, yeah, it becomes a problem. So that's another thing. I'll take like two more and then we can go to something else. So I'll take another person and I'll go with Toby.
Hi, Jude.
Yeah, Toby. What do you think about the SOP and what do you think was wrong about the SOP?
Like Lawrence rightly said, her flow was her flow was not so good. Her flow was not so good. It was just jump. She was just jumping from one particular place to the next place, and it was not just in sequence.
Mm,
So that's one. Then she had
mm,
some unnecessary points, most especially in her first and second paragraph. Sorry, first and third paragraph, where she talked about thoughts that she could have compressed,
mm,
made them sound logical, like Abigail said, and then make it a little bit, I don't know if I should say, use the word matured.
mm.
It was more or less talking about things that we don't really want to know about this thing. Just tell us what we should know or what we want to hear and refine that English. Because saying excessive words and the rest will just more or less help you increase your words. And at the end of the day, you might exceed word limit and you won't still
Yeah.
pass that message. So then apart from that, I saw some
Should I scroll down? Yeah, Toby, are you there? Yeah, maybe you can hear us. Right. Yeah, but I think we get the point. So again, it wasn't really logical. One thing really, really didn't understand, and some of you have told you, like in your CVs, right? You do relevant courses, but you are mentioning almost every course. Like, I don't need all of this. We have your transcript. We know the courses you've done and the ones you haven't done. You shouldn't mention all the courses you've done. You can mention one or two or three that you think are relevant to exactly what to drive home the point. When you do this, it's for emphasis. It's not to fill the space. Oh, I did algebra research method. Who did they do algebra? Just so this is another thing that I wanted to mention. Um, last person I want to call Linda. Linda, can you hear me? maybe she can't hear me. Let's go to Vincent. Vincent, can you hear me?
Yeah, hello.
Yeah, Vincent, you can hear
Yeah, I can hear you, but let me say I'm a beginner in this, so please can you spare me for today whilst I learn on it?
Yeah, it's not a big deal, no, but you heard it and you've read it. What do you think? What do you think if it was you would have done, basically? It's not really about
Okay,
what are you
maybe
doing.
I'll look at the editing of what they've presented. Like others were saying, it will be better once you write something, you sit down and then apply some tools. You can maybe use Grammarly or some things to be able to
Yeah.
help you check the sentences you've written, whether everything is all right. Yes, so that's a little I can say, but the content, I think for now, I'm now learning how to write these things, so I won't say much.
Yeah, it's like people are giving you pressure, sir. But yeah, the goal of it isn't to give pressure. The goal of it is to just do everything. It's not about experience, right? It's not about experience. Don't worry, don't worry. You get along.
All
So
right, thank you.
yes, so that's another thing. And I used to use Grammarly a lot. I don't know if Georgia Tech has free Grammarly, but I used to have Codon had a Grammarly when I was applying, and so Salon gave it to me. I was using it for myself and other Codon stuff. I shared it to some of my friends, and it helped us with our applications. If Georgia Tech has a Grammarly, I'll definitely sign up and I'll help you guys with it. Let me ask, does any of you here have a Grammarly premium account? I don't know. Someone will say like, what am I using Grammarly for? But I really need it. Grammarly Premium, it will mark the whole essay, give you very good like comment. Most of my essays when I wrote like were 98, 90, 97, 98, 99, thereabouts. And so I think most people don't have Grammarly. No one has Grammarly Premium. I have Grammarly here every check, but it's not premium. I would find out from the academic office if Georgia Tech has Grammarly Premium. If it doesn't, because of this application period, I can, yeah, out. If you guys, okay, so I want to say something, but depending on how you guys would respond, I can buy premium for us to use. I can buy premium for all of us to use for our applications. But yeah, it depends on how effective we are and receptive we are to all of these things. I know we are all pulling our weight, but yeah, I don't want to buy something that would go with, like for me, this first semester, I'm not really writing. I'm writing a review paper, but it's not too much. I can do it without Grammarly, but I think for you guys, it will help you your applications. And so if we don't have Grammarly Premium, I can get Grammarly Premium for us to use, but we have to make good use of it. We have to show it. Yeah, like yeah. If you guys are receptive, if you guys, we have these small meetings and you come and we're able to interact and I see that we are all on the same page, why not? We can definitely do that. So I'm just going to observe and see at the point I feel like we need to get the grammar, then I think you guys will use it. We'll do it, right? We'll do it. Because it would be helpful, but again, it depends on who is going to use it for. So I'll check. And in case I forget, maybe let me see today's today's 24th. I don't know. Has any of you started applying? What's any of you's earliest deadline? What's any of you's earliest deadline? What's your earliest deadline? Because like Grammarly is final touches. Grammarly is final touches. Any of you earliest deadline? I know earliest deadlines will be like November unless you're applying for spring. 16th October. Yeah, I think Esther told me. ChatGPT can work, but ChatGPT is not really like a spelling grammar checker, if I would say. I used ChatGPT to write SOPs for some friends too in the past, and yeah, I yielded good results. But when I passed things through ChatGPT, I still used to pass them through Grammarly because Grammarly can change a lot of things. You want to formal, informal, you want it to flow, a lot of things. you need to know a lot of prompt engineering to be able to do what do we call it? ChatGPT for spell check. If you wanted to write an SOP, yeah, fine. But if you wanted to do spelling and grammar checking, it can be some way. So yeah, I can get Grammarly, but I'm going to observe. I really was thinking about stopping the weekly meetings because I might get busy, and if you guys are not showing up, I just feel like I'll use my time to do something else. But let's see. So all these things are going to, if you can't make it for a meeting, just let me know. I feel like it's going to help you. That's why I do it. But like, yeah, I have other things to do too. So if you feel like you can't make it for any meeting or something, let me know. And I would organize the meetings based on what I think you guys need to know. After this today, I'm not sure we'll meet this Friday unless people want to meet me personally for some stuff. That one we can talk about. You can DM me if you want us to meet. I think sometimes it's just good for us to meet, to talk, and then I show you things like face to face and stuff instead of maybe just reviewing it and stuff like that. So when that comes, but if I decide to have a meeting, like I expect all of us to like join, and if you can't join, just let me know. So if their attendance is not encouraging, I just feel like, oh, maybe there's just few people who want to do this, then it's not really important. I can meet those people one-on-one, basically, because like that would also help me. But meeting you all, I don't want to say this thing to this person and say to this person. I have a lot of mentees, both here in the group and some who are not even in the group. So it takes a lot of time for me. But let's see. So thank you. One thing I want to say, we have talked about most negatives of this. In terms of positives, what I'll just say is that I think Karim has his hand up. Karim, yeah.
Yeah, hello.
Yeah,
Good evening.
yeah. Karim,
Please, can you hear me clearly?
I can hear you very well.
Okay, so please,
Oh, I can hear
there's
you.
one issue I'm actually cycles because I think right now the use of, don't you think that you said, please, can you hear me?
Yeah, I can hear you now. Yeah.
Yes, I'm saying that the use of AI is on the rise. So don't you think these schools will be checking like your essays, whether the AI assistance is more, because they're trying to check ingenuity in your writing. So I don't know whether it's going to really affect their decisions.
Yeah, some will check, but the fact that you use Grammarly is just a spelling and grammar check. It's not like really AI that is writing the essay for you. Grammarly, if you don't write it, it's not really writing it for you. I think maybe Grammarly now has some AI which can write, but what I'm talking about is not like, maybe if you want to, maybe we're talking about ChatGPT, but like in terms of Grammarly, and I'm not going to get you ChatGPT, I'm going to get you Grammarly. Grammarly is
Okay, but I'm just saying that
yeah.
Hello.
Yeah.
I'm just saying that you see, sometimes people feed the information they want into ChatGPT. So ChatGPT will just structure it and then give them. And I'm concerned about that too.
Okay.
Whether the schools will check
think
that.
It depends. Some schools, right, would check. Now, when I came to Georgia Tech, even like assignments, me, I've used Claude to do some assignments here. And unfortunately, most of the answers were wrong. It's crazy because I felt like the assignment was too difficult. And the answers they gave me followed logically from what I learned in class. But unfortunately, the professor just wanted something different. It doesn't necessarily mean my answer was that wrong. Some answers were correct, but the professor is like, no, I wanted this particular way. Do you understand? So when we went for orientation, I remember one professor, and he's the director of program graduate studies here at Georgia Tech for material science engineering. He said, the university doesn't have any policy on the use of AI or not. And so he can't say, because someone asked that question, so can we use AI for our assignment and stuff like that, and even writing? It's like, he can't say whether you should use the AI or not, right? If you think the AI would help you to come to a conclusion, fine. But you shouldn't rely on AI to do everything for you. And if you get some things wrong, then it depends on the AI. So he was saying that if a particular professor doesn't like AI use or not, he will let you know. And also, if he wanted to do a study, because he in particular he feels like AI is good and AI too might have its problems. So he wanted to have a study where we do assignments and some will use AI and some will not use AI, and then we'll see the results and stuff and kind of like draw some conclusions from it. So I want to say that the world is torn, right, between using AI or not. I can use AI and you not know that I've used AI. And it's probably something I'll teach you. I can teach you, but I don't think it's good for you now. Let's do the raw way because I did my thing the raw way and I came here. So let's do it the raw way. It depends on how you use it. There's zero GPT, yes, and you can use zero GPT to determine if there was use of AI or not. Now, even recently, my friend was telling me he's in the University of Nottingham. He's just finishing his degree. He's doing his thesis. They went to do plagiarism check, and his name and all of those things were checked as plagiarism and all of those things. And they did AI check, and all of those things came up. But it's not true. So even the people who are reviewing this stuff know that AI too might not be 100% accurate. But me, if someone is a beginner in ChatGPT and writes something in ChatGPT and sends to me, I'll know because I've used ChatGPT, so I know how ChatGPT sounds. I've said this somewhere, I don't know if it was in code on. That's like ChatGPT normally ends in some ways, especially the endings. The middle can be cool, the middle, but how it normally ends gives some flags about it. Also, some connecting words ChatGPT uses is very like, what do I call it? It's very common. Like many people would say it and know like this is just ChatGPT. So if you can remove those things, and so me, if I feed something to ChatGPT, I can give you my profile and everything, should write the SOP. It will send back what did I say about the essay? You should make it very specific to you. Even after ChatGPT writes the thing for you, you can still be able to edit it and make it yours. Or you should do that. You should do that yourself. And if you want to pass it through Grammarly, do that again. But I feel like either way, like you can write it with ChatGPT because you want to pass the writer's block. There's something called writer's block. You don't even know how to start. But you just use that as a guide to personalize it to your experience and stuff. And if I'm going to be reviewing your stuff before you go through it, and we do all those stuff, you are going out with something which is considerably good. Do you understand? Which has passed some litmus test. And so if they use zero GPT and it just uses ChatGPT, that one there, like I'll just say sorry. But if you have made it very specific, because I can tell you some schools don't really care. Some schools, I don't know if you heard about, some schools use ChatGPT to write like an email to students, and they found out it was ChatGPT, and then they had to kind of sue the school. Some plenty things, because some schools also use ChatGPT. It doesn't mean that it's wrong. Like so far as it can be used for your purpose and you make it that specific or fit for the occasion, it's not bad, but you have to make it very like natural. That's what I'm saying. Some things are there, like this guy is too lazy. That's why. But some things we can definitely see that, oh, this person really tried. ChatGPT can give you a nice idea of a story that you want to use. If you want to use a story arc to your essay, but then the specific things, you can't tell me that ChatGPT said that, oh, you went to do your internship at CSIR and you gained these skills and all of those things. It's true about you. Whether the AI wrote down, it's true. But how you're able to communicate, it's about the writing itself. The content, there you can change it and stuff like that. So Sam, your hand is up. Then we do the other thing first. Then go.
Yeah, Jude. So I just want to say a little about the AI. I've also had a few engagements using AI. The prompt AI too. Of course, I'm almost always on LinkedIn where I see people sharing valuable insights about the use of AI, specifically with the prompts. There's a way you can tweak the prompt for it to give you something very specific, and it will amaze you. You can even set your own, you can customize your own, prompts using ChatGPT, and it's very possible to get like targeted, answers. And so it depends on whether you are a very proficient user of ChatGPT or you are just a beginner. So it all boils down to that. And as you said, once someone sends me a text or someone sends me something for me to look at, with just I don't just read. I with just a scan. I can just scan through and I know, oh, this is some AI stuff. I mean, aside ChatGPT, there are other AI. I don't know if you know of the Google Bard and all those things.
Yeah, bad and all.
But yeah, there are other stuff that you can equally use. And when you pass them through Zero GPT, you might not get something that is generated by AI. Once you do all what you said, as in using what do you call it, either Qbolt or Grammarly or all those grammar check tools, and after reviewing it 1, 2, 3 times, I think you should be good to go. But then the problem comes with people like solely relying on ChatGPT, and after that they don't make any changes. That's the way the problem lies. So they should just take notes of that. That is the little I see. And just one more thing about the essay. Are contractions good in writing personal statements?
No.
Because I saw some contractions in the very first paragraph, and I think that was not too healthy for the personal statements. Yeah.
Personal statement is a formal essay. So I am and all of those things don't really. First of all, and no one has spoken about this. Like, you shouldn't even start an SOP with your name. Like, I am this. I don't, is it myself or something? Like, this is not like primary school, JHS school. You can do that and it will not affect you. But I always say, like, let's condense information and let's focus on the most important things. Your name, they have it already. You don't have to tell them again. It's not going to just call you any points. Let's go down into like business, right? So I think thank you very much, Samuel, for that. Yeah, like there's many AI, there's Claude and stuff, and that's what I'm saying. If you're a beginner in ChatGPT, I know, like I don't know what level I am in using ChatGPT. It's been a long time I've actually used ChatGPT, because like since I started my PhD, I've not used it much. But when I've used ChatGPT on many jobs, yes, and I've customized my own what do we call it? Prompts and all of those things. It's a skill. It's called prompt engineering. I took a course on it. There's a lot you can do with AI, but again, if you can personalize it, make it yours, change the language and everything, and still add that human element to it, it doesn't really matter what they want. $1 billion, no one can chase you. And that's another thing. There's holistic review of applications. If your transcript, your CV and everything alludes to what your SOP is saying, unless you, as again, use those clear words for them to just know that this thing was taken from AI, there's no way they'll say, we are not picking you because like you are the most brilliant student in your class, but you used AI, if it is not that clear from how it was used. So you just have to, if you use AI, you have to be careful. But again, I think, like, as I'm saying, as we go through reviews and stuff like that, all of those things can be taken away. And so I'll come back to review shortly. Ideally, I always tell people that have at least 3 kinds of people to review. I didn't say have 3 people, have 3 kinds of people to review your essays. You should have someone who is technical in your field to review your SOP. So let's say if I'm a civil engineer, I can have a civil engineer to review my SOP, because I probably say some civil engineering technical stuff that maybe another person would not understand. Just let them vet whether that technical stuff makes sense. If I say, oh, I want to use sand to produce a bottle, does it make sense? Like if I say that in my SOP, does it make sense to a civil engineer? Because if you give it to me and I'm not a civil engineer, I might say, oh, wow, this would be wonderful. It is practical. But it may not actually be something. They'll just say you're bullshitting me. This is you're lying. Do you understand? You need someone like that. Secondly, you need someone who is versed in the process and knows the technicalities of writing itself. And that's where like someone like me comes in, because I will not say I'm the best writer, man, but I have experience in this process and I've done it before many times and I've got results. So I can tell you what worked and what didn't, what I think is right. Many people have reviewed my stuff, right? And it got to a point, some guy reviewed my stuff in the previous year. And when I sent him again, 9 seconds, I was applying. He made like just 2 comments. He just made some 2 edits and changed some wordings. Like, no, like this time you are going to get a lot of offers. That's what he told me. Because like you've gone through the process a lot, many different people, a lot of things have happened to us for us to get there. And so I'm trying to pass this knowledge down to you at a go. And I'm not that kind of person. I'll just leave you if the thing is in bits. I'll push you to get there. And yeah, you may feel like, oh, like this thing is good, like let me go. but I want you to make it something that, Charlie, when they read it, it's going to really impress them. I remember Jeff sent me an essay recently, and I was like, it's good, but I want you to change the whole story. And that's why sometimes I like to interact with you, and that's why I have these meetings, because if I know more about you, I can tell you things to include in your essay that you probably didn't even include or have forgotten, or you didn't think it was important, because I know what's important. So that's why we need to do these things. So that's the second. You need like someone technical, someone who's good in writing. If you have a friend from maybe SHS or university who's really good in writing, Charlie, you can send it to them and say, like, have a look, like this thing in terms of the English, the grammar, does it make sense? Lastly, you need someone outside of your field, and that one is optional, because sometimes the writing person may just be someone also not from your field. But the last group of people or person you need for your SOP review is someone who doesn't know anything about your field. Like if you're in business, give it to someone in the sciences or engineering. So give it to someone outside of your field, someone in the arts. Let them read through it, but it's someone who is versed in like English language and can just say that, oh, does this thing, is this appealing? And again, can I understand at least something from what you're saying? Because even though you're going to say technical things, and sometimes I say be technical, don't be overly technical and forget to be very plain, simple English. And I was telling, I think on Friday, I was saying that me, I always tell you, try to keep it simple. Some words, like it's normal English word, and I've used some big words, like, yeah, it's good to use some big words, but also let's try to keep it moderate, right? So that's why I'm saying that if you are talking about research and the technicalities will come in research because you say, oh, this is why I did this. This is what I did. Maybe I'll not know the name of your XRF and XRD and all of those things. But if you come back and you tell me the impact and you say this project was done to be able to provide the people of Brocombe with affordable or potable drinking water, it makes sense. Instead of saying this was able to help get H2O to do this, you're just speaking technical things. So you mix the technical with the very simple things. And as we go on, it's a skill you build. As we go on, we will go through this stuff and it will be very cool for you guys. I wanted to mention that I was speaking to my mentor who helped me immensely last year when I was applying. It's called Arias Kotnik. He was in the University of Cambridge, but now he's working with GE Aerospace in Germany. And so I just told him I had arrived. We had been speaking for a while, but we lost touch for some time. And at a point, I'll probably bring him, depending on whenever. Yeah, as again, I said, depending on how we engage and stuff. At a point, I'll bring him in here to just kind of give you some heads up on the applications and stuff. And yeah, anything, you can ask him any questions. He's a very top guy and he helped me a lot when I was applying. So I'll speak to him about it. We were speaking even before I joined the call. So he's a really nice guy, helped me. And that's what we want to do. We want you guys to be able to at least pay it forward, because he helped me, and I don't know how many mentees he had, but he was dealing with just me, and I know like we're just speaking on a one-to-one basis, and at least you guys are like his grandchildren, if I would say. And so he talked to you guys, and yeah, right now he will be too busy to review stuff, but yeah, he organized more interviews and stuff. If it comes down to a point where there may be something I may not be able to do, I can just refer you guys to him. And again, that's why I want to know some of you guys' field. If there was anyone here doing aerospace, I could definitely link him to you, because he did aerospace. And that's the thing. He didn't do materials in there, he did aerospace, but he mentored me very smoothly and things. Most of the things I was saying in my essays, he didn't know much about, but yeah, he was advising me to also use very simple terms that would make anyone, whether it's in my field or not, to understand. So we would do that. Yes. So now I just want to go quickly. I wanted to say, first of all, let me say briefly some of the good things about this SOP. I'll show you what we did to make it good, which got the offer, and then I'll show you one of mine, and then we wrap up. So some things I liked about this SOP are that she talked about the fact that she got practical training because she's applying to civil engineering. If you're applying civil engineering, say I had practical training at Ghana Cocoa Board. What does Cocoa have to do with civil engineering, right? Unless she explains it very well. But she said she had practical training at CSIR, where they were doing a building project. So she was applying, and she said what she did. This is excellent. This is good. But maybe how you put it then is a problem. But you have the content, you can now optimize the content. So this is good. She talked about some of the courses, but again, sometimes it's good to talk about the courses, but too many courses now. I don't really know what you are trying. How are you now trying to link it? Is it which serve as foundational knowledge I obtained? Foundational knowledge in what? Do you understand? So some of these things are really missing. If you are talking about the course, you can talk about in a way that links what you are saying. Now, she also talked about some extracurriculars, and it's good because here in the US, I'll tell you frankly, US cares more about extracurricular than UK. UK cares about the fact that you are a top guy, like you are the best student in your class, you have the best grades, and then if you have some extracurricular, if you have leadership in a way, it would serve you, or depending on where your scholarship is going to come from. But if it's departmental ranking, they don't really care. They care about the academic. If you have papers, if you have publications, conferences, stuff like that. I have seen how Oxford ranks their candidate. I've seen that paper before, and I know how they do it. They take you for how many papers you have. They take you for whether you were first in your class or not. They take you for your GPA. It's crazy. UK is very like more on that side, but US more on like holistic or extracurricular. They are leadership experience. They have some technical expertise in ABCD. If you are not, they don't care whether you were first or last in, they don't really care if you are able to put your story right. And so she mentioned about some extracurriculars, and if she can link some of the extracurriculars to what she wants to do or what she learned from it, that's good. So she said these things improved her people skills, which will be useful in both professional and personal settings. And I think she undervalued what she was saying here, because link it to what you're going to do now. Personal and professional settings very large. Link it to the fact that, it has improved my people skills, which would help me in graduate school to interact with people. Just go straight. Like, don't, I was listening to this, I was watching Acrobatics video today, said, we don't beat the side and side, we beat the top. This one just goes straight to the point. Don't beat about the bush. So she talked about a final year project, which is excellent because she was trying to, she has research experience, which is again relevant to a field like civil engineering. Now, the one thing I didn't like, she was mentioning KNUST a lot. And KNUST, this thing is very long. If you have a word limit of like 500 words, not now you're going to be saying Kwame Nkrumah University. Just mention Kwame Nkrumah once, put it into brackets, KNUST, and can mention it again because she mentioned KNUST here. And then another place she's mentioning Kwame Nkrumah University. So take note of that so that you don't do too much repetition. So that was really good. Then she talked about the school a bit, but there was a lot of typos here. But one thing I liked is that she said Aberdeen is known for its research in civil engineering. And she went further to say, how is it known? Because it has one of the best hydraulic laboratory facilities in Scotland. You see, this is very specific. And this is what I mean by being specific. I like this because some people say, I want to go to University of Maryland because it's one of the best schools in the world. And the best schools in the world in what? And a school which is not really top will say, Masa, we know you're lying to us because you just want to come here, because like there are levels. It's better to say, maybe the school is good in this specific area, or don't say it at all and talk about something more that they would agree with than just saying, it's one of the best schools in materials engineering, it's one of the best schools in business analytics, unless you have proof to back it. And then when you say it with your chest. Georgia Tech here, their industrial engineering program has been the best in the world since 2003, both undergraduate and graduate school. Every day they brag about it. You go on their Instagram, every day they brag about it. So that one day, if you say, I want to come to Georgia Tech to do industrial engineering because it has the best in the field, and then still, I would advise you to still give background, give some backing information. What about it? Okay, the fact that it's the best, so what has that done? Okay, they are the best, and so they have been able to churn out graduates who are working at top corporations like maybe Coca-Cola, Intel, and Apple and all of those things to solve problems that you're passionate about. Then, oh, this is why I want to come there because maybe when I finish, I want to go work here. Then they can see it logically. So that's another thing that you should really look at. So these were some key things. She talked about her long-term goals, and it's always good to talk about the degree, why you're doing the degree and how it links to your long-term goals. But she didn't do a good job of like making it again like very specific, because she said, oh, my motive of being an engineer, and like what kind of engineer? She didn't even say my motive of being a civil engineer is to impact. And it's not the fact that you are doing civil engineer doesn't mean I'm going to end up as a civil engineer. I can end up as a different kind of engineer. We have civil engineers. Vincent is here, can tell us more, but it should be very specific. They don't want someone who sounds like they don't know what they are doing. That's the bad thing. And I don't know whether when we finish, I have the time to show you something. Sometimes if you want to know how specific you should be, go and look at Knight Hennessy, their scholar's profile. They'll tell you this person, like the way they look serious, no, it'll be like, Charlie, like you don't know what you are doing. Meanwhile, like they just have to, the fact that they wrote that there's not like that's what they are going to do. You just have to get in. If you get in and you say you don't want to do this kind of research or something, it's up to you. But you need to brand yourself. It's branding. It's not, you need to brand yourself in a way to be able to get in. So you can go to Knight Hennessy, Oxford. I used to follow Oxford a lot too. Oxford Rhodes Scholarship. Now they have this masterclass scholarship at Oxford. And I know the people who ran that. So they were posting about some of the people recently. And I just look at their profile and like, oh, these people, yeah, like specific. Someone say, oh, business analytics. There's a lady who was going to do an MBA. She's doing MBA and law, and she says she wants to solve some particular problem in I don't know, it's Kenya or Rwanda. It was like a very, very like minute case. I don't know much about business and stuff, but it was a very small section of the thing. And she was going to just, because she was going to just do this in her country, but someone would just talk about the whole thing in context and say, oh, I want to be able to study this so that I'll be able to solve world cancer. How can you solve world cancer? It's how many cancers do you have in the world? And it's crazy. So try to limit yourself to a small place and go dig. You dig deeper. That's how typically it works. So that was it. I'll just save this. I'll show you which one worked, and then I will just go to my own, and then we go from there. Should I show you the civil engineering one, which didn't get in? But because this is civil, I just want to see. Yeah, I'll just show you it because we're just able to link it in a way. It didn't get in, but we did a lot of work to turn it around a bit. And then I'll show you one of mine, because she didn't get into the civil one, but she got into the materials one, because the civil one, they told her she couldn't get in because of her background, but she got into materials. So I'll show you this civil one. I don't know if you are seeing it now, but I'm just going to reshare. So this is it. So this one, I just made a start from this, and I kind of use her story now. Right. So, and most of this, I'll tell you, it was people's work, it wasn't mine. So I gave her the idea for the story. She came, it wasn't really good. I used ChatGPT to optimize it a bit, and I wrote it again in the structure I wanted it to. So we started this growing up in a small village in limited resources. I never imagined pursuing higher education abroad, let alone in the UK. I still let her keep it because it's a line. I didn't want to take it away from her. So, but my childhood experiences motivated me to pursue a degree in in structural engineering. So you see how we put it. As a student at Boakye-Yiadom Experimental GHS, I witnessed firsthand the negative impact of poor infrastructure on one's education and dreams. Our school building, made from clay, had deep cracks and leaked every time it rained, halting classes and affecting the studies of countless young children. This experience sparked my passion for contributing to the solution of poor infrastructure conditions in my community. I am now eager to take the next step in my journey by applying to the University of Aberdeen's Advanced Structural Engineering program. During my undergraduate studies in ceramics and technology, at KNUST, Ghana's leading engineering sciences institution, I gained fundamental knowledge in the structure, properties, performance, and processing of various ceramic materials. Also gained industrial and research experience. In my third year, I undertook a 4-month internship at the Council for Scientific and Industrial Research Ghana. During this time, I seek in-depth practical knowledge through working on a commercial building project. I also gained mixed design, reinforced concrete preparation, and surveying skills. Additionally, through interactions with the engineers on site, I was exposed to the intricacies of construction engineering management, which thoroughly inspired and reinforced my decision to pursue graduate studies in this field. My undergraduate thesis focused on the characterization of clay samples from different sources to determine their potential use in the Ghanaian ceramic industry. Through this project, I gained invaluable skills in academic writing and presentation of research findings, as well as X-ray diffraction and fluorescence and comprehensive strength tests, which will serve me well in graduate school. Alongside my academic pursuits, I've actively participated in extracurricular activities. I have a passion for service. Through service as a peer tutor, women's commissioner, and general secretary of the KNUST Counseling Center, I've developed my interpersonal relationships, communication skills, and ability to work on diverse teams, which I believe will be beneficial in both professional academic sessions, especially in graduate school. I said this before. I wish to pursue a master's degree in advanced structural engineering at the University of Aberdeen to broaden my knowledge and skill set to address the poor infrastructure conditions in Ghana, being specific. The University of Aberdeen is renowned for its research in civil engineering. I'm excited to learn about low-cost solutions to the rampant dilapidation of mud houses in my community and to utilize the university's state-of-the-art facilities, such as the hydraulic laboratory, to accelerate research discoveries. Upon completion of my studies, I plan to work in the construction industry in Ghana, where I can apply the knowledge gained to foster community development. I believe the University of Aberdeen will provide me with an education that will bolster my career and prepare me for a lifetime of impact. Thank you for your consideration. So now, please rank this SOP for me. Rate it out of 10. Don't tell me 10 over 10, but rate it out of 10. And then we'll compare what was different here and the other one. Just rate it on the chart. Yeah, so I see 2 people say 8 over 10. My dear says 9.9. All right, what do you, the rest of you guys think? 9, 9. All right, a few more and then we start discussing about it. 8 over 10. No one's going to 7. 9. Okay, so what do you think has been different here? First of all, brevity. And I would say this, in SOPs, less is more. I'll tell you the truth. Less is more in SOPs. If you know the content, you know what you really have to include. You don't have to talk plenty. You don't have to like talk plenty and beat about the bush. Less is more. You know what you are saying, go straight to the point and say it, right? In the introduction, I tried to, because she said she had limited resources. She never knew that she would be able to stay in the UK, blah, blah, blah. But Brookroom, and I could like, as I come back, because that's what I'm saying, if you leave the thing and you come back, you see things. As I come back, I'm like, oh, this thing, I could have even made a case for the Brookroom experiment and talk about how like it is one of maybe the poorest towns in her region and all of those things to give a good image, because although SOPs are supposed to be very like intellectual and apt, they are also emotional in the sense that for you to weave a good story, you have to add some emotional aspect. And emotion doesn't necessarily mean that the person should be crying while shooting it or should feel sorry for you, but the person should feel your enthusiasm and inspiration to do what you are doing. And so I made a case, and that's what I was saying earlier, that when I was reading it, I kind of was thinking about like, this girl can link this and this to make a good case for what she's saying. And that's what we did in the introduction. And then we went through. So Yeah, maybe I just want 2-3 people to tell me what they see differently here, and then I'll tell you the general structure of an SOP with this, and then I'll use mine to go deeper into it, and then we close. So maybe I'll call people again. I want to call someone who spoke at the other time and spoke today. So Lawrence, what do you think is different from here now? The past one and this one. What do you think is here that makes it better than the past one?
Yeah, so Jude, thank you once again.
Yeah.
And so the first concern I raised was the flow.
Yeah.
When you look at this carefully, I love how it started with almost like a story. I mean, when you look at the first paragraph, it gives you a background which is captivating in the first place. Then now, going forward, it doesn't leave you wondering what is next. It tells you what I did next. I pursued an undergraduate and studies, and then this is what I gained.
Yeah.
And so now this is my background. I'm passionate about something. I have made a step. The step is that I pursued my undergraduate studies, and this is what I have gained. It doesn't leave it there. It now talks about work experience, which is also vital in this whole process, right? After I talked about the work experience, then now it now comes to talk about extracurricular activities. And so when you look at this whole thing, it is so holistic that it doesn't leave one aspect out. I mean, it is holistic. It captures your background, which is good. You have the passion. Passion alone is not enough. You have pursued your undergraduate studies. You have gained practical skills, work experience, the like of that. So the content is heavy. Yeah, you can easily flow. I mean, when you read this, you know that, okay, this is what he's talking about. The next thing, this is what he's talking about. So overall, I think it's solid. And then one of the things that I so love about it is the conclusion, which it talks about upon completion of my study, I plan to. So now you don't only tell us your
The
ambition.
past
I
and
mean,
what you want
you
to do
tell
now.
us, absolutely. So it makes it so complete. So that is what I also see about it. Yeah.
Exactly. So these are the key ingredients to a winning SOP. And that's what I was saying. Structure and content are really the bread and butter of everything we are doing here. If you have all these things, everyone has a different profile, and then we can now go deeper. Once I know a lot about you, we can craft a story. Like sometimes it's good to start a story. If people know me from my LinkedIn, my most viral LinkedIn post starts with the fact that everyone has a story. So we can always craft a story to paint a good picture about something. But it's not just about the story. If you have the content, we can play around with the content to do a lot of nice things with it. And so as I said earlier, when I was talking about the difference between a personal statement and an SOP, I was saying that an SOP has a bit of a personal statement where it talks about your past. You see the beginning, the first paragraph wasn't like technical, was it like how her upbringing was and how her, what do we call it, her background has influenced her. That's the beginning. And it goes into like her program, her academic background and her research background, and then goes into what she wants to do now. Why does she want to do this? How prepared is she? So she's talked about building both technical and soft skills. And now the fact that she's going to do this program and she wants ABCD from this program, which is going to help her in her future career, because they always care about that. Because if what you want to do in the future is not really related to what you're doing now, then why are you doing the thing? So I always talk to some people who say, oh, maybe I want to be a professor, I want to be in industry. And they don't like things like that. You may not be sure. Now, me, I'm in my PhD right now. I don't know really what I want to do after here. So it would depend on what happens along the line, and a lot of factors will come into play. But you don't, me when I was writing there, I told them I want to be a professor. This is why I want to be a PhD. And it's mostly logical because PhDs mostly come from professors. Like professors mostly come from PhDs about it. So it's just good to let them know in that regard. So it's always good to be specific. And someone, I think I was reviewing, I don't know if any of those guys was here. I was telling them that when they write, they say, oh, upon completion of my studies, I wish to work in the construction industry. I say a better word to use is I plan to work. What's the difference? Who can tell me between saying I wish to work in the construction industry and I plan to work in the construction industry? Which is better and why? Anyone can unmute themselves and say, between I wish to work and I plan to work, which is better and why? Yeah, it's on. Yeah, it's on. You can unmute and speak.
Okay, so I think saying I plan to work is better than I wish to, because I think wishes don't always come to pass.
Yeah.
You wish for something, and somewhere at the back of your mind, it believes, oh, it can come to pass or it may not come to pass. But as and when I will get it, I'm wishing to get it. But when you plan for something or you plan to do something, you put in measures to get there, or you put in measures to be able to do whatever you're planning to do.
Right.
So yeah, that's why I plan to work with basically.
Exactly. Yeah, and that's very on point. Thank you very much, everyone. So saying I plan. Okay, Samuel, you want to add something? Yeah, you can. Yeah, Samuel, you can speak. Samuel, can you hear me?
Okay, sure. And so when it comes to, yeah, please can you hear me now?
Yeah, I can hear you.
Okay. So when it comes to wishing and planning, you see, wish is like something that you daydream of. I mean, you are not making any approach or are not making any steps towards it. But when you plan something, it means that you're actually making it like a proactive approach, or you're showing commitment into taking action to achieve the goals. You understand? So there are two separate things. If you are planning to, get into a school next fall 2024, that means that you are currently engaging yourself into things that will get you a vacancy or something so that you can join in next fall. But if you wish, that means that next year it could be that you might not join it or you join it. But if you plan, that means that you are currently undertaking plans, you are currently undertaking steps that would lead you to your destination, basically.
Exactly. So when you say you wish for something, it's like, yeah, it's something you have in mind. You aspire, you hope that it will happen and it will just fall on your lap. But if you say you plan, you're actively working towards it. And so I'm just giving an example of how small words can make a big difference in just how you write. And so some of you may not know these things. You may not, because I just singled out I wish and I plan because I've seen it in some of you, your work. And that's why I decided to do this, because most of you will send me things that have similar mistakes that I would have to correct everyone at the same time. But if I have you all here and I probably say it and now you go, if you have to watch it again and you write something, then yeah, I know you understand these things and the reviews are going to be simpler because I know you guys understand content, you understand structure. I shouldn't have any problem with structure from any of you. Most people, some guys sent me stuff, a lot of stuff, and I have to optimize structure before I deal with content because yeah, I think that's one thing about me. I don't know, it might be same for everyone, but I always like to keep things organized before I go into them. So if the structure is not there, you don't even see the content doesn't shine in front of you. So let's be mindful. And so when some things like this, that's why you have someone like me and other people who review your stuff to probably say this, change this, change this. I remember one of mine, and I'll come to some of these things. These are things I've learned over the years. And when I see a particular phrase, I remember who I took it from, who I learned this from. So it's not like it's just me talking. I'm talking from like a world of experience that I've gained. This statement here, KNUST, Ghana's leading research engineering sciences institution, was from my first mentor for graduate school. He was called Sixtus Agure. And very soon I'm going to do my LinkedIn post and I'm going to thank everyone who helped me with my applications. This guy is very instrumental. I think I've said it before. He paid application fees for about 4 schools for me when I was applying in 2022. He's like a really good guy. And he reviewed my stuff and he told me like sometimes it's good to give context. When you mention your school, no one was KNSU, what's KNSU, who cares? But if you tell them KNSU is one of the best schools in Ghana, then they can relate. If it's one of the best schools and you are the best student from a particular department, or you're not one of the best, then it leads to your appeal that, okay, this is someone. And these things all coincide. Your recommendation letters will come to play, and we'll talk about recommendation letters later when you guys have to draft recommendation letters for your lectures if they need it. But I made sure that I made all these things resonate. What the lecturers are saying, what I'm saying, all clicks. Because yeah, some schools like University of Texas, Texas A&M, and all of those schools, they have categorically said they care more about your recommendation letters than your SOP. But your recommendation letters are first, after that your SOP. And if they don't link very well, you have a problem. So you have to make sure that your lectures are reinforcing what you're saying. So yeah, that's just one of the things. If you're saying KNST is one of the best engineering science institution and your lecturer's recommendation has typos there, you have killed yourself. So it all counts. So I just want to give you the structure. I've said this on various platforms and I'm going to say it again. I've learned this from many people, many places. Where I'm going to say I learned this particular framework, which I'm going to teach you today, is from the University of Oxford itself. I was 2 times mentee of the Oxford African Society, and they gave us tons of files, links to watch, to read and stuff before we started the program and stuff. So Oxford program coordinators and graduate coordinators, they sat down, they had a meeting and they were talking about what you should say in your SOP. And they said, your SOP should answer 4 questions. So this is the T. And as I'm saying, once I give you this framework, however way you answer these, that's where I want to see your creativity. Not everyone should just give me the same structure. I use 1, 2, 3, 4, which I would explain to you what 1, 2, 3, 4 means, and you see it in most of my SOPs. But I think in one of them, I started from 3 something, but I use 1, 2, 3, 4. So you should answer 4 questions. The first question, and once I teach you this thing, you guys should be able to teach other people how to write SOP, and that's why I'm doing this. That like I like to work at scale. So once I give you this, you just go and you use it and you do your own stuff with it. So 4 questions. Why this program? Right? What inspired you to get into this program? Why do you want to do a master's degree in business analytics? That's the first question you should answer. You should be able to answer it very clearly. Why do you want to do this? You can link it to your career. You can link it to what inspired you to begin. Right? You can link it to a world phenomenon. Maybe right now, people are finding it hard to classify their data, and there's a lot of cyber crime and stuff because of these things. And so you want to learn business analytics to be able to track these things and make informed decisions. That's your T. Now, how you break it down, you expand it, you play with the words, and you create a story, it's up to you. That's the first thing. So me, sometimes some of my friends have reached out to me, write SOP and stuff. They've been very, very, if I say lazy about it and slow. And I'm like, you don't have to. Sometimes if I say write the whole thing, it's difficult. But just start from the beginning. Answer these questions for me. Just take something. Answer all these questions for me, line by line. If you have to even write 1 line, 2 sentences, answer all these questions for me. Then we'll use the answers to these questions to write the essay, because that's what it's supposed to be about. So the first thing is, why this program? Why? What inspired you? So it's the same question. So why this program? What inspired you to do this program? To want to do, so you finish your undergrad, you can go to industry. Why do you want to do a master's? That's the first thing. And to answer this question, you should know what a master's is going to get you at the end of the day. or a PhD is going to get you at the end of the day. That's what I'm saying. You should kind of link to your long-term goals. And I think that's what I didn't know in my first cycle. In my second cycle, I really knew what a PhD was about. And when you do a PhD, like what you do in the PhD, what you get at the end of the day. And like when I wrote about it, like people really feel like I'm in the shoes of a PhD student. That's how they want it to be. So that's the first thing. Why this particular program? Why, what inspired you to do it? The second question is what qualifies you to do this program? Why is it that of all the 1,000 people applying to MIT to do civil engineering, we should admit you? What makes you unique? What makes you qualified? And now, what are the things that can make you qualified? One thing that can make you qualified is your background. That's what I'm saying. This, my friend, she had a background in terms of research and stuff and work experience, but she didn't have the technical background in terms of the classroom stuff. So you need that background. Another thing is maybe your qualifications. Yeah. So you have the BSc degree and all of those things. If you have like a certification from industry or wherever, if you have some research experience, what skills do you have? All those things come to play. And to do business analytics, what are the skills required? You should be able to answer all these questions. What are the skills required to do business analytics? Maybe you need to code. Maybe you need to be a good communicator. You need to answer these things. What skills do you have? What research experience do you have? It may or may not be important, but typically, again, masters, you can have the research-based one and the non-research-based one. And I can tell you for a fact, most of the non-research-based ones are not funded. So if you probably know how you get funding somewhere else, then you don't think about talking about research. But if you are targeting something related to research-based funding, they need to know how good you are in terms of research. So tell them a bit about research you've done. All these things qualify you. So why you in particular? What makes you unique? Why should we select you above everyone else? And this is where you are supposed to bombard them. You are supposed to kill them with the T. And so you realize, I'll show you the framework. So in this here, the first paragraph here, I'm going to just give them color code so that I can depict something. Okay, I can use this highlighter. So this, I don't know whether it is this color. I don't know whether it is light blue or it's light blue, I think. So that's light blue. That's the first thing. Why this program, right? What inspired you? So she answered that. She said she was inspired. This experience sparked my passion to contribute to the solution by pursuing a master's degree. This inspired her. Now, the second paragraph or the second section, which says that what makes you unique, what qualifies you, is these 3 paragraphs. And that's what I'm saying. It doesn't matter. There are sections, however you play around with them. Depends on you. Let's use green. So these 3 paragraphs talk about why her, what made her qualify, her academic background, stuff like that. What skills, what research experience. Now let's go to the next thing, which talks about why this school, why this particular department for a field that is as interdisciplinary as mine, which is material science and engineering. Some schools don't have material science and engineering departments. They have materials engineering research being done in chemical engineering departments or mechanical engineering departments. So why is it that I don't want to do it in the chemical engineering department, but I want to do it in the materials engineering department? That's a good way to visualize it for a field which is that broad. Again, it can also be like, oh, it has only just materials engineering department. So why is it that you want to do it in this materials engineering department? Among all the departments in this school, among all the schools in the world or in the US, you are choosing this particular school. So you have to answer those 2 chronologically. And typically what I do is you answer by answering why the department, you're answering why the school, because when you answer why the department is part of the school. And what makes the department unique is what will make the school unique to you, because you are not looking at any department. That department you are looking at, that is that field you are looking at. And so you would not come to that school if you were not coming to that department. I hope that makes sense. And this is the make or break of your essay. And I feel like when I was even reading this today, I feel like I did a very poor job of expanding that. Probably she had a word limit, but I think I should have gone further to explain why. Yes, so that's yellow. And I used just like one paragraph to do that and it was very small. But if I show you some of my other essays, you should be able to see clearly how this went. So this is why the particular department, and I'll tell you a few things. And again, I really wish I had slides so that I'd be able to see these things. But once I say it, probably if you are writing or something, you take notes because these are things I want to see in your essays. This is the make or break. When you are talking about yourself, the school or the coordinator cannot argue with you. You are talking about yourself. When I talk about what inspired you, they cannot talk. Why do you want to do the program? They cannot talk. But why did you choose this school? They can talk because it is their school. If you lie, they'll catch you. If you say, oh, the University of Aberdeen is the best in the world, they'll say you are lying. If you say, oh, I want to come here because the school, maybe the weather is nice, it's relative. If you say, oh, we have a problem-based paradigm because you probably saw it in someone's SOP and doesn't apply here, they'll cut you. You have to be very happy. And this is where research comes in. Your research about the school. For this particular paragraph, you always, emphasis on always, have to go to the school's website. Check the department itself you're applying to. So if it's advanced structural engineering, when I was helping her with this, I had to go to the department, so I had to read it and say, what do we make of this? How can we try to apply these things to what she's saying? Because she had done the work, but I wanted to confirm that she's really saying the truth. So this is very important. When you come here, there are 3 things that I want you to note. You should be able to write about, to be able to defend why the department, and because of this, I'll probably just send this to you to help guide you guys. When you're asking why, I can do this thing later, but like maybe why the school or departments. You can talk about ranking or reputation of the school. You can talk about professors. Maybe they have some distinguished world-class professors there. And there's different ways you can talk about the professors. You can also talk about facilities or research centers. And I like this a lot because this makes the school unique from other schools, because not every school has these facilities. These facilities will be unique to a leader school. You can talk about students, organizations, or clubs. And these are just the template ones that I usually use. There's more, so please feel free. Like, it's based on your research. You might find that sometimes it can be their study module. It can be their study module or their course module, if I would say. How they deliver the courses. Some would say it's a blend of theoretical and practical. Some would say it's compulsory that you take 6 months co-op, like go to industry for 6 months to go and learn and apply it. So all those things come into play, do you understand? So let me pick these one by one and explain something to you. So to answer this, and this is, I'm highlighting this because this is very important to how you're going to, and how the school is going to perceive you as someone who has done the research and knows what they are talking about. So when you talk about ranking or reputation, and I don't like this too much because every school can say they are top, but what did you use to back it? And this is relative to every school. So I don't like this too much, but I can talk about it. So like, I'm like, oh, I want to come to Georgia Tech because Georgia Tech is one of the best schools in materials engineering in the US. And you probably use this for schools which are like very top ranked, right? And again, schools can be ranked based on different things. You can be applying to, let me say, a school like Louisiana State University, which may not be in the top 50 in the world, but in the state of Louisiana is the best. So you can say that, oh, you really wanted to have your studies in Louisiana. So that one, you pitch it in the state side and say, oh, you want to study in the Louisiana state itself because you like the countryside, or you can play a lot of stuff. You can say you like the countryside, you don't like city things too much. You grew up in Ghana, you want countryside, and its proximity to Lake Mississippi will help you. Actually, it's vibes. You can make a story around it and say also, when you look at that schools that have that setting, you chose Louisiana State because it is the best university in the state of Louisiana. And I always say, don't just state one of these reasons and that's all. State about three. I always say at least three of these things in conjunction. So after you finish saying, oh, it is the best in the state of Louisiana, you say that, okay, you'd also have the opportunity to learn from like some of their world-class professors, like maybe Professor A, B, C, D. So it's good to mention names, or you can mention just one person's name and say, oh, you read this person's paper and it interested you. You don't necessarily need to say you read their paper, but depending on, and that's why cold emails comes in. Because if you write about the professor and the professor says apply, add my name, you just add his name there. And I always say add like 2 or 3 just to say that, oh, you have identified, and there should be people doing research that is close to yours. Let's say they have advanced structural engineering department, but someone is doing on maybe structures on land, and someone is doing structures on water, and someone is doing structures in the air. Let me just say, and you want to do structures on land, and you're writing out professors doing structures in water. It doesn't make sense. That kind of shows them that you know what you are doing. So like if I'm doing materials engineering, materials is broad. I'm not going to be writing our professors doing research in metals. I mean, I don't do metals research. So I'm going to be writing about professors doing research in maybe polymers or electronics, because that's what I want to do. So more specific, that shows them that you have done your research. And I'm taking my time to say this because this is the killer. This is what the school is going to look at with ego eyes, because they know themselves more than you. If you lie, you're done. And so just compare, you need to see how competitive it is, because imagine I did my master's here in Georgia Tech and I'm applying for PhD in Georgia Tech. Don't you think I'm going to write a better paragraph about why I want to be in this school than you who is coming from somewhere and you don't know much? What is going to differentiate you and that person? The research, how much you know about the school, because the school has a lot of information there. And you could ask me right now, if I was applying to Georgia Tech again, there's more things I can write about, which is not even here, because I'm here now and I know what is here and what can benefit me. Do you understand? That's how you need to think about it. I think this paragraph is a make or break once your content is there, because almost everyone is going to have the content. Someone will say, oh, if someone doesn't have a first class or second class upper, they're not going to apply to Oxford, or they're not going to apply. Everyone has that thing. But what separates you from them? It should probably be the why what experiences you have, how you're able to communicate it in what inspired you in the first paragraph, and then why the particular university, why did you choose these people? So then the professors, so you can say the professors. And so when I explain this and you read, I'll show you my final SOP before we go. When you read it, you now understand how I spoke about these things. Now we go to facilities and research centers, and this is mostly for STEM. For non-STEM, I know you'll probably find something, or facility. That's why I didn't just limit it to research center, but facility. They probably have some facility that's related. Maybe they have some business analytics, what do we call it? Center, which they do research in business, or something that you just talk about and say that I really want to come to this school because they have this center which is related to my field. It should always be related to a field, and I feel like coming here, everything you talk about should benefit you. When you talk about reputation, it means that you are going to learn from world-class professors and be involved with world-class students who are going to help you to grow, and you'd appreciate being in that environment. When you talk about professors, yes, they are going to help you in your professional development. When you talk about the facilities and research centers, they are going to help you accelerate your research. I always say to help you to accelerate research discoveries. This is a punchline which was given to me by one of my mentors from Harvard University. So these are all things that we put in there. Then you can talk about student organizations and clubs. At Georgia Tech here, there's something we call the mill. the materials innovation and learning center, blah blah blah. And it's one of a kind. I've not seen it anywhere else in the world. And this mail just helps you. It's a make and measure space. You can just come in there, do any materials engineering kind of research with the available tools, measure it. You not pay anything. And this is just going to help me to be able to explore any ideas I have about materials engineering. I can write about this very well. You have to do your research. And it's not just about the website. I can go to the school's website, I can go to the department's Instagram, Twitter, just see if it's a school you really like someone said their dream school is Purdue, you need to do more. And that's why I said it's good to connect you with these schools to someone there because they can tell you more. And so telling you these things, you know what questions you can ask. Now, study or course module, as I said, some schools may have some practical mix with the theory, and some may say, oh, like Erasmus Mundus, for example. Henry was applying for Erasmus Mundus, and Erasmus Mundus, they allow you to, as part of the program, you travel to various countries, at least around 3 countries. You can do 1 semester in Italy, another semester in Spain, blah, blah, blah. And say, oh, you like that because you'll be able to travel, you'll be able to learn from different countries and stuff. All that is part of what you say to say, why this particular school, why this particular department? Because most of these things you are saying cannot be found in the other schools, or you have to make that kind of case, right? Another thing, like here in Georgia Tech, we have a course called GT 6000, and this course just help, it's for only graduate students. And when you come in, okay, they are for the undergrads, it's called GT 2000. And when you come in, they teach you, it's a course that teaches you how to write a CV, how to do research, how to create a bucket list, how to prepare for career fair, how to do follow-up, a lot of things that it teaches you soft skills, it prepares you for your career that you not learn in the classroom. And that's something I really like, because I'll just say that, oh, other schools are focused on just my academic progress and things, but they are not thinking about the practicality, how I'm going to really sit down and get these things done. And so this course that I've learned about Digital Tech is going to help me get there, and you blow their minds. So this is the thing. Me, if I read someone's SOPO, then beginning and stuff, and I come here and it kills me, Charlie, I'm going to admit you. So this is really good. And then the last question you ask yourself is, why now? And why now, I always tell people, it's tricky. It's an optional part. If you don't talk about why now, you just conclude. But if you talk about why now, you can link your why now to your conclusion. Because one thing, what should logically happen is, how would this maybe school, like when we say why this school, why this department, you should also link it to how is it going to help you achieve your long-term goals, right? Everything should always lead to how is it going to help you achieve your long-term goals. So when you conclude, you should link it to how is it going to help you achieve your long-term goals. So here we try to do that by talking about how it probably assist us to achieve our long-term goals. But in yours, like when you talk about why now, it's like, of all the times in the world that you could have done this program, why did you decide to choose now to do this program? Is there a pressing need that you have to solve, right? And things like that. So if there's something that you talk about it, and I remember when I was reading Lawrence, you were talking about the SMEs and all of those things. You made a good case of why now. Now when I say this and you go back and look at your SOP, you can read it and see how you are answering all these questions and make them more concise. You bring them together. Because one thing I don't like, someone will answer why you here and come and talk about the school and finish and come and answer why you again, like that. The structure's not really there. When you understand this thing, you try and bring all of them together in one packet. And that's why I say I use 1, 2, 3, 4. So for me, the first thing is the why this program and what inspired me. That's 1. Then why me is section 2, why this school is section 3, and why now, and conclude is section 4. So why now? Oh, when I study my research on how to develop new energy materials, I may be able to, I will be able, given that there's a maybe high energy deficit and things, I will be able to use it to develop new materials that can solve the energy crisis or something. That's your why now. That's why you want to do it now and not tomorrow. Do you understand? That's all. And then once you do this, you have like a winning SOP that you can really just play around and you can win. So that's it. Thank you very much. I don't know if it's really late. I don't know if you guys let me share the last my personal SOP for you to see how I use this day, or we just close and this would help you because like this is the same framework I use, just that yeah, I'm a different person, so I'll say different things about my SOP. Yeah.
Sir, please continue.
All right. So I'll just I'm really sorry, me myself. I have what do you call it? Some assignment to do, but I'll just go through this quickly. SOP stuff. So I have a number of SOPs. I don't know which one to share.
Sir, please, I have a question.
Yeah, you can. Yeah.
All right. Talking about the second part of our SOP, which is what qualifies you for the program. So I want to just ask this simple question. Is it okay for us to just expand our research experiences, what we did, how we did it, and the outcome of the research and the application?
Can you come again, please?
All right. The question is for our second part of the SOP, which is what qualifies us for the program, right?
Right.
Can we just talk more about, like, expand more on our research experiences, what we've done, how we did it, that's the techniques we applied,
exactly.
and applications, the future applications of those things we've done previously.
That's clear. Yeah, you can do that. So I'm going to show you my SOP, which so you see that this is quite really short, but I went deep to talk about like a lot of stuff in my research. I talked about 2 different research projects I did and a lot of things. So I'll show you that.
All right, thank you, sir.
Yeah, so this is mine. I don't think this is my best SOP, but I'm just going to use it because this is Georgia Tech. Yeah, my supervisor, okay, my supervisor didn't really review this because the thing is, here in Georgia Tech, we wrote short essays, and this was just for like the graduate committee and stuff. So we wrote short essays, and then we had like the graduate committee 1, 2. So the short essays really are the more important than this SOP, but most of the things I say here are in my short essays, or they just that's what I'm saying. And writing that kind of made me know what these people are really looking for. Maybe later on I can show you that like in another day, because like short essay stuff is different, the 250 characters and things. They just ask you, what research do you want to do? So like from the beginning there, I just went straight to my research and stuff. And then they asked like other things. How will your studies at Georgia Tech impact the world? It's just like the same thing. If you answer those short essays, you can put them together and write an SOP. That's why like most of MIT like this, they have short essay. Carnegie Mellon, most of the big schools have the short essay way, because if they just leave it to write the SOP, you write many things which are irrelevant. But if they give you the short essay, they are giving you the questions they want you to answer. And if you answer those questions well, when you're writing your own SOP, it's very easy to put it together. So this one, I just went like this. I've always imagined a world in which humans are greatly aided by the benefits that future technology should bring. And this introduction is quite generic. I could have done better, but yeah, I just went like what flows from there would help you make sense to why I did this. I said the broad scope of materials technology and its ability to help people directly and indirectly has motivated me to aspire to be a researcher in this field, to contribute my efforts to global advancement. Because yeah, materials technology can be applied almost everywhere, whether directly or indirectly. So with growing industrialization and technology advancement, there's a need to develop novel materials that seamlessly combine different materials properties for emerging applications. Organic semiconductor materials have emerged because of their light weight, stability, and toughness, while offering superior electronic properties due to their conductive elements, opening new applications in energy systems, wearable technologies, and telecommunications. Hence, I wish to pursue a PhD material science engineer at Georgia Tech to broaden my knowledge and research base. So that's what I'm saying, you need to know what's the PhD going to give you. It's going to help me gain more knowledge and gain research skills and stuff under the guidance of top academics in this field, in line with my career goal of being a professor, where I can contribute new knowledge through research to global technological advancements. And again, contributing new knowledge through research to global technological advancements is the goal of a PhD. So if you are doing a master's, it's not really relevant because it's not the goal of a master's. You have to just describe it based on the goal of the master. What do you want to gain from it? As I said, it doesn't harm you to say you want to be able to gain the skills so you can work in a top company. It doesn't hurt you, but you should be able to say, well. So I answered that. That's what motivated me to even pursue this program. I've said it. And because a PhD is good to go more specific, deeper into the material you want to use, the area you want to study, and I am focusing on material. Materials is broad, like Toby is focusing on the manufacturing and stuff. He's not focusing on maybe one particular material. So depending on what your field is, you will know what to do about that. Then I talked about why me. I said my undergraduate studies in materials engineering at Kpare University, Ghana's leading engineering science institution, equipped me with the fundamental knowledge of the science and engineering of materials for various applications by sheer hard work and commitment to my studies. And when I read this, I remember this is a professor who is going to University of Virginia next year as my mentor. I had a different way I phrased this line, and he said I should use this phrase. So he said, by sheer hard work and commitment to my studies, I graduated with the highest cumulative weighted record in the department's history and was awarded the Best Graduate Student Prize for the class of 2021. Consequently, I was appointed as a research and teaching assistant to serve in my department after my graduation under the supervision of Professor Albert Ozalto, where I gained more in-depth knowledge in nanostructured materials and build skills in teaching, academic writing, and collaborative research while tutoring, process control, and fluid transport courses. So I just summarized my TA experience. In other drafts, you see that I tried to write plain table, my TA, I did this. But again, the more you write, the more you condense. So I go further because it's a PhD, I have to talk about my research more. So I said I was first introduced to nanotechnology during an international exchange program I attended at UNIS, South Korea, my sophomore year. During this time, I had the opportunity to undertake rotational research in 3 different labs: nanoparticle synthesis for device applications, polymer nanocomposites fabrication, and 2D carbon material synthesis at Professor John Mentees' lab, which is one of the professors. He was in polymer nanocomposites. I worked with a team of 5 students to synthesize zinc oxide nanoparticles and fractionalize on silicon substrate for gas sensors. I was just trying to be very technical. Through this project, I gained invaluable, but I was telling them what I was doing. So I said I synthesized this for this application. What did I do? I synthesized this material for gas sensor applications in wearable devices. Through this project, I gained skills in nanoparticles and thin film synthesis, as well as characterization techniques, including Raman spectroscopy, TEM, particle size measurements using this synthesizer nano. I was just trying to tell them that I have skills in these things. This experience not only broadened my knowledge of advanced material, but challenged me to adapt quickly to rigorous academic environment, because this was something I did away from my undergrad, my home institution. So I also learned how to adapt. And this was my first experience with nanomaterials. I was intrigued by how such minute entities could alter the properties of a material, and this inspired me to ask intriguing questions such as what effect does graphene have on the mechanical properties of recycled polymers. This was virgin materials. I was now thinking about what effect will we have with graphene have on mechanical properties of some recycled polymers. Given the prevalence of plastic waste in Ghana, providing an answer to this would assist me in devising a strategy for plastic recycling to combat environmental pollution. So I talked about the impact of this. Now, I went further because it's a story I was creating, and I sat down with Selong to create this story. Those back in the day when we were doing it. I had the story already, but we made it better. This format, I sat down with Selong to create this format. So my quest to find answers to these questions influenced my final thesis, fabrication and characterization of the mechanical and thermal properties of recycled polyethylene graphene oxide composites there was little support for nanotechnology because this is like a new field, like nanotechnology is not like traditional materials we were doing. So there was little support for these projects available at my university, including inadequate laboratory equipment for nanoparticle synthesis and characterization. Through review of the literature, I found a topic I could complete with resources available. Then I sought advice from a relevant supervisor and collaborated with a team to successfully execute the project. In this project, so I spoke a lot about it because I wanted to drive a message home. Then I said, in this project, we recycle polyethylene waste with varying amounts of graphene oxide to form a composite, well, through extrusion and injection molding, and then studied its mechanical and thermal properties. The research findings show that increasing the graphene oxide content up to 1.5% geo increase the composite tensile impact strength and specific capacity. That the developed composites emerged as promising material for structural and thermal storage applications. So this is it. And I remember I've gone further in other variations. I think when I was applying to Cornell, I spoke about the fact that I presented this paper at a conference and all of those things. If it was today, I'll still do it because that just shows what I've been able to do with it. I didn't go deep enough here, but let's continue. So now here, you remember all these paragraphs are just answering why me, right? So I continue and I say, I wish to continue research in polymer nanocomposites in graduate school. Now I'm going to answer why Georgia Tech, and I use 2 paragraphs to do that. The current lack of nanotechnology support at KNUST motivates me to develop it. To achieve this, I need to first deepen my knowledge in this field, understand how more extensive projects are set up and managed, and what is required to support them from a research-intensive university. Georgia Tech's top-ranked materials engineering program department boasts researchers at the forefront of polymer nanocomposite innovations. And I had to go read about professors who are, because everything you are saying here is very delicate. If you make a mistake, it will really cost you. So I said, these researchers are at the forefront of polymer nanocomposite innovations, including Professor Natalie Stingling. And I always put my preferred professor first, because when they are reading, they should start with that person and then move. Don't put your preferred professor last. If you have code, email the professor, put his name first. So I said Professor Natalie Stingling, and she was the department chair. So she's first. Then Professor Satish Kumar, he's very top. He's the one who gave me an assignment and I don't even know how to do it. Yeah, so that's Professor Satish Kumar. He's an old man. He's a very top guy. And Professor Lauren Gatton, she also worked in industry and has like academic experience as well. So I said, I'm particularly interested in Professor Stingling's work on organic and printed electronics as it aligns well with my research interest. I'm curious to develop low-cost organic electronics with high efficiency that are easily recyclable or biodegradable. Advances in this research would open new applications. Because I'm saying, I said, this is why I'm curious to do it. For PhD, you really have to go deeper a bit. And then I'm saying, advances in this research, why do I want to do something like this? I'm saying, advances in this research would open new applications in medicine, electronics, telecommunication, and energy, while contributing to sustainability. Then I go further. So I now talk about like why I want to do that project. Then I go further. I said, when you are talking about why the school and stuff, you should talk about 3 things at least. I talked about the professor. Now I'm going to talk about 2 more things. I talked about the top ranked university, the reputation, and I talked about the professors. Now I'm going to go more. I said GT also has immense resources to support research in this field. Again, I'm limiting it to the field with research centers, including the Center for Organic Photonics and Electronics. This is a center my supervisor heads. And again, it's a Center for Organic Electronics, and that's where my research is. Then we have the Georgia Tech Polymer Network and the Institute for Electronics and Nanotechnology. Now there's even more. I'm part of another center called SPECS, and that is even more related to my work. So like, as I'm here, I know more. That's the thing. So if you talk to someone in the school, they can really tell you, oh, you can also talk about this, you can do this. I am eager to use the state-of-the-art equipment to further hone my practical skill set in this field and accelerate research discoveries. Now, when you talk about the schools thing like this, they're excited because it's about them. And they, like when I'm here, maybe when you're here, you don't really value the stuff. But when someone talks about it, like, we are proud that you have these things. So you say, at Georgia Tech, I will also enjoy the exceptional support of student groups like the Society of Plastic Engineers, which will help me build networks to advance my professional development. Now, if you are not a materials engineer, you don't really know the connection of plastic engineering to organic semiconductors, but yeah, it's the same thing. It's related, basically. So I am talking about a student organization or club, which is related to my research. And I'm saying that it will help me build networks to advance my professional development. As a minority researcher, I know that Georgia Tech will provide me a conducive environment, as demonstrated by your commitment to diversity, equity, and inclusion. That's all. Then I conclude. I say my long-term goal is to build a career in academia, as it provides an opportunity to combine my passions for teaching, mentorship, and contributing to global advancement through research. I plan to lead a research group to train the next generation of material scientists and advance research in polymer nanocomposites, especially exploring innovations to tackle plastic pollution and clean energy generation in Africa. A PhD from Georgia Tech will thus aid me in contributing to emerging technologies through my research, while promoting environmental sustainability, because it's a team, it's a story I've created. And I said that I wanted to solve plastic pollution problems, and this is why I'm doing this. And if you remember from my first paragraph, I said that this research will help me. Even here, I said that advances would open new applications in medicine, electronics, telecommunication, and energy. So when I come here and I talk about doing research in clean energy and stuff, and I talk about to tackle plastic pollution, and I talk about environmental sustainability, it all adds up. This is the conclusion. Then I said, oh, I hope to both benefit from and contribute positively to your institution. This particular phrase is from my brother. He used it for some of his SOPs in the past, and he advised me to use it. So it's not like you are just coming to the school, you are going to benefit from them, not give them anything, but you are going to benefit and contribute to them. So I used it a lot in my writings. And I said, thank you for your consideration. So this is it. And this is long. So it depends on the word limits they give you. But this is basically the template I was using for most of my SOPs. So you realize that I have everything here. And sometimes that's what I was saying in the previous essay, I didn't do much justice in talking about the school. Like when the ladies SOP, I used just one paragraph to talk about the school and it was very short, but maybe there was a word limit to it. But I tried to balance it. So whether they ask you for 1-page SOP, 500 pages, whatever, make sure you answer those 4 questions as aptly as possible. And at least try to talk about the school a bit as much as, like, if you use 2 paragraphs for yourself or 3 paragraphs, at least digest, go deeper. That's what I'm saying. Talk about at least 3 different things about the school or the department that are passionate about, and that should do it. Everything will cover. So that's it. Any questions? And then we are done.
Yeah, Jude.
Yes,
Yeah, thank you very much for this insightful session. First question is, can you kindly scroll to the part where you made mention of some professors, some 4 foreign professors,
yes,
and then you came to state specifically about one professor.
Yeah.
Okay, so I'm speaking for people who have already, are speaking to professors and have gotten slots and all that. So with that, maybe you have 3 or 4 professors in mind, or maybe you have just one professor in mind, but then the work is related to 2 or 3. You don't want to limit it to only one. What if one fails? You can't put all, then that means that putting all your eggs in one basket are just going to crash all the eggs.
Right.
So you want to just open it up a bit to maybe 2 or 3 people who have related works, so that in case one fails, you have 2 or 3 other options. I saw you doing something similar. I saw Professor Natalie Stingel. I don't know if yes. And then 2 other people.
Yeah.
Yes. And then now you came to talk about Stingelin's work.
Yeah.
So now, Can you kindly give me a tip on that, so that we who are also right will know, okay, that if you've already contacted someone, you just have to relate the work to other people you feel you can work with.
So this was after my interview with Stingley, and Stingley said apply for my name there. I was so confident. Do you understand? So I put it there. Now, if you have had an interview, I don't know, the interview you said you've had, is it with one professor in the school or multiple professors in the school? If you had with one professor in the school, talk about, like in the first part you mentioned, you can mention the 3, right? And then when you now go specifically, talk about the one you have had the interview with. Do you understand?
Okay.
But if you maybe haven't had an interview with a particular school, right? But you are just excited with the professors, or you meet the professor and you said, oh, what do you call it? You can apply and things, feel free. Do you understand? Feel free to, don't be specific. So you can say including Professor Natalie Stengin, Professor Satish Kumar, and Professor Lauren Gatton, right? Whose research. So you can just do that and say, so like all of them have the same research experience, interest, right? So you can say, well, maybe their work in GIS and stuff really inspires you. And then you now talk about what you want to do. Do you understand? You just have to keep a basis for you mentioning their name in relation to your research. And then you jump to this part and you talk about what you specifically you want to do. And it shouldn't really be too like in-depth or giddy. These were very like condensed things. I use like 1 sentence, 2 sentences to explain the whole research and things. But yeah, it should get you somewhere.
Yeah, thank you very much.
Yeah. And I think there's some samples in the drive there where I go deeper to talk about. Like for some other professors, so for some schools where I didn't have an interview with a particular professor, I was broad, so you can check some of those. And I think for Cornell, I had an interview with a particular professor, but he encouraged me to email another professor. And so I said, I've spoken to this man who said I should apply, but I want to do research with this person. Like all of those things also so there.
Thank you very much.
Right. Yeah. Any other questions before we go? So the first one we did, I'll send it to you just so you guys understand this. And so now when you guys are writing your SOPs, I hope that's going to be very smooth and things. The writer's block can be there, like you don't even know where to start, but try to sit down and get something done and then make sure that it answers these 4 questions. And that's what I'm saying. Now, it doesn't matter. I can show you other SOPs I have. We just started with my research wants to focus on A, B, C, D, blah, blah, blah. I kind of start answering question 2 and 3 simultaneously because I'm answering why me, but I'm also answering why now, which is 4. And I'm also answering why, how it's related to the school and why I want to go to the school. There's some I did like that, started like that, and I went through. So by the time I got to, after I finished talking about my research, I didn't talk a lot about, I just talked briefly about the school, maybe in addition to the fact that ABCD, I want to work with Professor A, B, and C and talk about some centers, and then I close out. So that's it. Sorry for keeping you guys here. It's been long. But I think that we've covered so much. And if you guys have any questions, they should do it for us in SOPs. I don't think we'll talk about SOPs again unless like peculiar situations come. But yeah, like now you can feel free to edit your SOPs, send it to me, and then we can work on it. Any other questions or we can close? Someone said, is it necessary to bring job experience? Not really necessary unless you want to link it. It's all about the link. Adding it doesn't make it logical. If you can create a story around yourself and what your experiences have done and how it has led you to one particular thing, it may be good to bring it. I have various SOP variations. There's one I talk about my internship at the Ghana Highway Authority, where I learned MATLAB and I was able to implement MATLAB in the work at the Highway Authority to do some stuff. And that helped me because that's computational material science. I was actually writing it because that SOP was for a program related to computational material science. And so I was just showing my experience in computational material science, how most of these schools are looking for. They probably know Africa, we don't have the resources and stuff, but what have you done with the little you have? So I was like, oh, I learned this thing in class as a course and I was able to use it on a project and then I use it in this organization and blah, blah, blah. So if you think it's something that's going to help your story to make more sense and stuff, you can add it. But again, if you feel like you have more things, as I said, now, why you and all those things, you can juggle it. I have other qualifications, other things I could have talked about, but as I said, in Korea, I did 3 different rotations. For some SOP, I'll talk about Professor John Member, some other one I'll talk about Hangi Chi, another one I was talking about different things depending on the occasion and depending on what I wanted to achieve there. So that was it. So that's what I'm saying. You don't need to like write one SOP for everything. You can play around with it, depending on the word limit too. If you think you have other things which are more important, and maybe you don't know. So when we talk about it, when you send me, we talk about it, I can say, okay, maybe this is more important here, or we can do this and see. Right. So that's it. Thank you guys very much. I'll end the recording here. I'll send you guys the thing later. And then my week is already starting. So I'll see you guys. Thank you.